Who said finding cheap motor insurance had to be hard? You can make finding cheap insurance easier with mustard.co.uk. Compare your car, van or bike insurance quickly and easily online by the team dedicated to helping you find the right policy. For an insurance quote that cuts the mustard, choose mustard.co.uk. Details online, authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast with Lookers Volvo. Here, wherever and whenever you need them. Visit them in store or online. It's game day, and this is the home of Scottish football. It's Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Good afternoon and welcome to Clyde One Super Scoreboard as one of football's greatest rivalries takes centre stage yet again in Glasgow. In the green corner with home advantage, a Celtic side who must know the title will be all but won with a victory, if not already. And in the blue, a Rangers team looking not only to keep faint league hopes alive, but prove they can make up for previous Derby disappointments. I'm Gordon Duncan, and joining me in the studio, Gordon Dalziel, Mark Wilson and Hugh Keevins.
Michael Beale says the league title is Celtic's to lose. If Ange Postecoglou's side beat Rangers today, the championship is over and Celtic have 2 in a row. That's why a country will come to a halt in half an hour's time. Big players are missing due to injury from both teams, but the job of football management is about coping with mishap and finding a way to win. There'll also be no away fans at Celtic Park today, but in this, the most unique of fixtures, it's not about the size of the crowd behind you, it's about the size of your heart and the strength of your mind.
Yep, make no mistake about it, Gordon, it is a title decider. If Celtic win, the title will be wrapped up. If Rangers manage to get a result here at Celtic Park, it shows Michael Beale has improved this side, and there might still be life left in the title race. Big day ahead, sun shining. Hugh's right, big players may be missing, but it still will be some spectacle to come.
I'm with the lads, looking forward to it. Of course, it's one of the biggest games ever. Packed Celtic Park, all Celtic fans for the advantage of them today. And as the lads quite rightly said, if Celtic win today, it's all over. Rangers glimmer of hope, but it's all about the bragging rights, and I'm looking forward to a terrific game of football.
Let's go to Celtic Park. The sun is shining, the playing surface looks magnificent, all the main protagonists are out on the pitch warming up, and our main characters Andrew McLean and Fraser Wishart are there.
Yeah, what a day it is here, and what an occasion as well. Another huge game between these two sides with massive consequences as well. Ange Postecoglou saying yesterday that nothing will be decided today, but if Celtic win, going 12 points clear with 7 games to go, I'm not sure many would agree with him. I'm also not sure many would expect Rangers to go on and pip Celtic to the title if they get the win today, but it would certainly change the dynamic, and it would be something Michael Beale could point to as a sign of progress. I won't leave you waiting though for the big team news. People were wondering what the Celtic midfield would look like. Rio Hatate out injured. There is one change for them. It's Tomoki Iwata who drops out the starting lineup, and Aaron Moy is back fit and back in the team. So it's Joe Hart in goal for them. The back four, Alistair Johnson, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Carl Starfelt and Greg Taylor. The midfield three, Callum McGregor, Aaron Moy and Matt O'Reilly. It's Dyson Maeda and Jota in support of Kyogo in that front three. The substitutes, Bain, Haksabanovic, Turnbull, Kobayashi, Iwata, Bernabe, Welsh and Vata. The huge news for Rangers, no Connor Goldson, which is a surprise for everyone really. Michael Beale, he didn't spill the beans on that injury yesterday, so he's been replaced by John Souttar in the starting lineup, whose only start this season came on the opening day of the campaign against Livingston. Nicholas Raskin is also in for John Lundstrom. So it's 2 changes in total for them, as I say. Alan McGregor starting in goal. The back four, James Tavernier, John Souttar, Ben Davies and Borna Barisic. The 2 holding midfielders, Ryan Jack and Nicholas Raskin, with Malik Tillman, Todd Cantwell and Ryan Kent. The supporting act for Alfredo Morelos up top. Substitutes, McLaughlin, Yilmaz, Lundstrom, Hadji, Cholak, Kamara, Wright, Sakala and Arfield. The referee for this one at Celtic Park is Kevin Clancy. VAR duties, it's Nick Walsh. Fraser Wishart alongside me. What stands out to you out of those starting lineups?
Well, I don't think there's any surprise in the Celtic starting lineup. We knew that Rio Hatate was out, and that's a huge blow, I think, for Celtic. He is certainly, for me, in the running to be Player of the Year this season. Fantastic footballer, but it doesn't weaken Celtic too much when you look at Moy and O'Reilly, who fit so well into their system. I think it's a huge blow for Rangers. Connor Goldson being out here, he's a voice on the park, he's a voice off the park, he's a leader. He's just probably the strongest voice in the game for Rangers as well. And John Souttar, as a player, no problem with him playing at all. He's got the ability, he's a fantastic footballer. It's the injuries that have been the worry. And even to the tail end of last season, he was injured for Hearts. He came back to play in the cup final against Rangers. He's only started one game this season, so in 12 months, probably 2 games that he's started. Is his fitness still being questioned? And that'll be a real problem for him, because Kyogo, as we know, is a handful. But I just think for the game as a whole, even a draw is not good enough for Rangers. They have to win this to keep their faint hopes alive, to perhaps have a small chance of catching Celtic.
Yeah, really looking forward to this one. As you say, the sun is shining. A magnificent day, hopefully a magnificent game of football as well. Kick-off just over 20 minutes away.
Well, it wouldn't be a meeting of these sides, Gordon Dalziel, without a big surprising piece of team news on the morning of the game. Last night we thought the absence of Rio Hatate would be the headline team news. Then rumours started circulating late last night on social media, picked up a bit of pace this morning. Then Connor Goldson was spotted getting off the Rangers team bus, so you think maybe that the rumours are not true. But then about an hour or so ago, the confirmation he will not take any part this afternoon. How big a blow is that?
I think it's a blow for both teams. I think Hatate, I agree with Fraser, must be running for Player of the Year, been brilliant. But in the Rangers team, Goldson is massive. He's one of their best players. He's been most consistent. He hardly misses a game, Gordon. I think that's massive. I totally agree once again with Fraser about John Souttar as a player. He's not played a lot of football, we know that.
First league start in 8 months.
Yeah, and you're up against the sharpest striker in the league probably, with Kyogo. There's got to be a big ask for him today. Ben Davies will really need to help him out. I think that it's got to be a big ask for Rangers back four, because I think Celtic will be in the front foot. Where I think there's a plus for Rangers in the injury scene is the fact that they return of Raskin. I think, and I've said it, against Hibs, Raskin and Jack in the middle of the park were excellent for me, and I think that's a partnership that can grow, so that's a plus for them. But I've got to say, I think Goldson missing today is a big loss.
I mean, Mark Wilson, there's possibly a case, I've seen it pointed out already, that Connor Goldson's not had vintage afternoons or evenings against Celtic recently, but then that would just be in line with a lot of his teammates, and there is absolutely no denying he's generally one of the first names on the team sheet, so that in itself tells you that it's a blow for Michael Beale.
Of course it is, and Connor Goldson has been a player that Michael Beale, and before that Van Bronckhorst and Steven Gerrard, has built the side around a defender who very rarely misses a game. Now, he would be the first name in the team sheet had he been fit today, so of course it's a blow. And it's an even bigger blow when you look at what the backup is. I'm with the guys with John Souttar in terms of ability. I played with John Souttar, I know what he's like. He's a brilliant player, but when he's only played 5 or had 5 involvements with this Rangers side over the course of a season, again, it's a gamble. It's not ideal for Michael Beale whatsoever. And then from the Celtic point of view, Rio Hatate missing is huge for them as well. Now, it's softened a bit because when Ange Postecoglou turns to his bench to look what he's got to replace a player such as Hatate, he's lucky that he's got Moy back again fit, and he's got O'Reilly who can come in, and if he hits anything like the heights he did early on in his Celtic career, then there should be no problems. But no doubt both managers would look at their both starting lineups and think we're missing 1 or 2 crucial players here, but Celtic definitely looking the stronger 11 at this minute.
Well, for me, the job of football management, and Gordon Dalziel will know this to be true, is that you have to cope with mishap. It's a weekly occurrence for managers, even in the context of this, the most unique of fixtures in Scottish football. You have to cope with mishap, and I think that influences team selection as well, because I think Tomoko Iwate was good against Ross County last week, but I think perhaps Ange Postecoglou is not yet sure how he might handle a start in this particular match, and he knows what Matt O'Reilly can bring to the game. As for John Souttar, because it's this unique fixture, adrenaline, I think, will carry him through when he would look odds on to suffer from a lack of match fitness. But I think adrenaline is a major factor.
Yeah, I mean, Fraser Wishart, if you're looking at previous meetings between the sides, Celtic have clearly had bragging rights this season. You just wonder how different Rangers will be with the inclusion of Nicholas Raskin, Todd Cantwell, the clamour afterwards to criticise Michael Beale for leaving them out of the cup game not so long ago. You just wonder how different things will look today.
Well, that's what he's hoping for. These guys that were signed in January to improve the team, and I think they have. You know, Cantwell's taken a wee bit longer maybe to settle in. Raskin came in and immediately was taken to by the Rangers supporters, and he's mobile and he's aggressive in the midfield as well, and a decent football player as well, so he's got something there. But I'm looking at the Rangers team, and they've got Tillman, Cantwell and Kent in support of Morelos. They're going to be absolutely key, because Rangers have to win the game, but they've also going to have to do a defensive job as well, because in recent games Callum McGregor and the midfield of Celtic have dominated the game and just taken the game away from Rangers. So you can't just leave Raskin and you can't leave Jack to cope with those three as well. So Tillman, Cantwell and Kent, they're all going to have to do a job defensively as Johnson and Taylor run forward as well. So it's twofold for these players. But Raskin and Cantwell, for me, make Rangers a better team. But can they turn it on in this big game? And that's the test for these guys today.
Yeah, I mean, it's a compliment to Celtic that the question marks are really about how do Rangers approach this? What can Rangers do? It is a compliment to Celtic because we know what they can do, and they've done it many times, and they're top of the league with a comfortable margin and have performed very well in this fixture. What do you think the approach looks like for Michael Beale? The players that are in the team, Fraser, he speaks about wanting to be the dominant team in terms of possession. Can you go and do that at Celtic Park? Similarly, can you set off Celtic at Celtic Park? Probably not, as they found out previously. So how do you think they'll approach it?
Well, the one thing for Michael Beale is he's not going to have to second guess how Celtic play. They play the same way every single week, same formation, same tempo, same passing game, and they're relentless and they're very, very good at it. So the question for Michael Beale, first and foremost, is how do you stop Celtic dominating it? And I wonder whether they will have somebody just to drop into this number 10 area to try and stop Callum McGregor getting on the ball. For me, I think Callum McGregor's the best player in the country. I think he just dominates football games with his simple play, but he's just in charge of football games. And if you can stop him getting on the ball and creating things and being the kind of playmaker, if you like, then perhaps Rangers have got a chance. And I think it's an attacking formation as well, because as you said, if you sit back against Celtic, they will absolutely punish you. But Celtic, for me, will probably have the most of the ball and most of the game. But it's how do you stop them doing it? And then when you do get the ball, Cantwell, Tillman, Kent again have a big role to play in getting Rangers up the field of play in support of Morelos. So for me, that's the key to it. It's what do Rangers do when they get the ball? Because if they just give it back to Celtic, it'll be relentless and Celtic will win.
Let's hear from both managers then. Ange Postecoglou followed by Michael Beale.
You're expecting a tough game. They're a very good side, and it's a big game. And in all big games, there's a bit of an edge to them, and also both teams are going to have their moments. I don't think it's going to be any different. Looking forward to it. It's these are the games, particularly at home with all our support there. It should be a cracking atmosphere, and players and everyone involved are looking forward to the contest. All we can do, all of us, is just play the game and play it with a mentality of being really competitive and trying to perform to the best of your ability and at all times be respectful of the fact that it is a contest. So that's all you can do. I don't think it takes anything special. I don't think you have to sort of adjust your behaviour. Certainly we don't feel like we have to do anything different the way we approach the game or the way we play the game. We want to put our best foot forward, play our football that's been really good for a while now, excite our fans.
Those things that we talk about, it's important that we start well tomorrow. We're going away from home and with no fans, so the home crowd will be up, and it's important that we start strong and we start winning the duels, and we were too slow in both games. That's not the Rangers in this fixture that I remember, but it's the Rangers that in this fixture that I've inherited, and it's important that we show a different face for sure. And I think that's common knowledge. That's nothing that I'm not saying anything there that will surprise anyone. We have to start in big games stronger.
Hugh Keevins, everyone knows the arithmetic. I think that's not lost on anyone. If Celtic win today, it is absolutely done. It might be done anyway. Rangers need to win to keep faint hopes alive, so we get that bit. What's the added significance to this one? Because there's always a subplot and a subplot and on we go. So what's the added feeling to this one?
If Ange Postecoglou wins, then he has amassed more points in the head-to-head with Michael Beale. Michael Beale takes a quiet satisfaction from the fact that since he became Rangers manager, he and Ange are level on points in the head-to-head. There's a kind of symbolic feeling about that if Celtic win. And Rangers fans, let's be honest, Rangers fans hope that Ange Postecoglou gets an offer from England and goes away, because they feel that enhances their chances of overtaking Celtic. That's not exactly a vote of confidence in Michael Beale if you're hoping that one manager goes so that your manager looks better. So that is the significance. If Ange Postecoglou wins today, then the head-to-head alters, and if he stays at Celtic Park, then he's the guy with his team that Michael Beale has to dislodge.
Is there also a case here, Gordon, about even just trying to, people always talk about laying down a marker, if that's the right phrase, to prove that the future is bright to people externally, maybe internally as well, to give your players belief? This is a Celtic side that have got one defeat in the last 63. It is a Celtic team under Ange Postecoglou has never lost a domestic home match. So if you can go there and shatter that, then that would give Rangers a massive shot in the arm. And on the flip side, Celtic want to keep Rangers at arm's length.
I think that's what it's all about for Rangers today. Even if they win today, I don't think you'd be confident when we go and win the league. But what you say there is right, Gordon. They've got to, they can't just keep turning up against Celtic and perform and saying, yeah, okay, we got a draw, they lost in the cup final, they're here today against Celtic at Celtic Park. When you are a manager, you're a player, you've got to start winning these games. You've got to start being confident enough to go and get them. Now, that job is made very difficult with the fact of the stats you've rhymed off there with Ange Postecoglou and Celtic, especially at Celtic Park. So it's got to be a massive hurdle to overcome. But if you're going to start telling everybody the future's got to be bright, you're on the right footing, you're going forward, these are the days when you've got to step up to the mark.
I agree with Dalziel, Gordon, just quickly, because not the future as in next season for Michael Beale, the future as in the next 3 or 4 weeks, where they meet again at Hampden, and let's be honest, it's Rangers' best chance of silverware, the Scottish Cup. If he's beaten again today, then it quickly becomes the same old story. Then the game at Ibrox. Now, if it's the opposite and Rangers win today, I think that makes them a different proposition for Celtic, going to the game at Hampden and going to Ibrox, and things could look a lot different. So there is a lot at stake today, not just the 3 points, but for what things look like in the coming weeks ahead.
I mean, Fraser, I mentioned the number of storylines that surround a fixture like this, and this one has in some ways been dominated in the build-up by ticket allocations or lack of away ticket allocations. You're inside the stadium, obviously, we can hear it, it's a very raucous home support. We can probably save the arguments about whether it's right or wrong for another day. What do you think it does this afternoon specifically? Does it change things?
I think it changes things a bit. I mean, I heard the guys on the phone in this week talking about it and saying, well, there's only 700 Rangers supporters, so it doesn't make a big difference. And I get that, but I think it makes a slight difference, because when you have a good spell in the game, if Rangers do have a good spell and they have a shot at goal and they win a corner and they're having a spell of pressure, you know, the Celtic fans could be quiet, and then you've got the Rangers fans coming in and making noise and really giving the team a boost. So I think there's a bit of difference. But listen, the players will just go on with it. They'll just go on with their game, and they might use it to try and turn the Celtic fans against their own team if they manage to get on top. But it's just disappointing. It's beginning to become a better atmosphere, but when Andrew and I were sitting here 45 minutes ago, or sort of half an hour ago, it wasn't that great. You know, the only real kind of noise was when Alan McGregor came out to a raucous reception from the fans that were in here, and the Celtics supporters in the standing area were giving them a bit of stick, which Alan enjoyed. But it's not quite the same, and we can debate it rightly or wrongly, but for me it's our showcase game. There should be away fans here, and it's just disappointing.
Do you think a lot of it depends on how this game pans out, Fraser? Because Rangers have conceded first in the last 5 meetings, even the ones that they've gone on to get something from in that time, they've conceded first in the last 5. So is it those types of moments in games that might actually emphasise what difference this allocation can have?
Yeah, I think so, and I think that when you, as I said earlier, when you're having a good spell in the game, your own support, no matter how small, it will make a noise, you know, and they'll give you that wee lift, and Rangers need that. So I think Michael Beale made the point about the team starting very slowly in the games when he's been involved, and that's true. It's almost like a cautious approach, maybe subconsciously from the Rangers players, because Celtic have started the games better recently and dominated possession. So if you're looking for your team to to go and attack and go and take a charge of the game early on. Sometimes a small group of supporters can help, but listen, they're not going to be here, so it's a different approach from the players. The players have got to use that in their own favour and try and turn the Celtic fans maybe against their own team in a sense and get on top. But for me, it's just disappointing that Rangers have no choice. They've just got to get on with the game, and if they do get a goal up, then that will give them a lift on the field of play.
Kick-off is fast approaching. We'll go back to Celtic Park next. And now a word from our podcast sponsor, Lookers Motor Group. They've got Jaguar, Land Rover and Volvo showrooms across Glasgow and the West, so you can find the new or used approved car that's right for you. The Land Rover showrooms can be found in Motherwell, Darnley and the north of Glasgow, with their Jaguar and Volvo showroom found in Hillington. And right now at lookers.co.uk you can browse and shop 24/7, value your part exchange, order and take delivery from the comfort of your own home. Every approved used Jaguar, Land Rover or Volvo comes with a minimum of 12 months warranty, roadside assistance, MOT test warranty, an independent mileage and service history check, software updates and lots more. Check out lookers.co.uk to get your new or used approved Land Rover, Jaguar or Volvo today. Now back to the podcast.
Action as it happens. And your reaction from 5 on the open line. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Hugh Keevins, Mark Wilson and Gordon Dalziel are in the studio, but Andrew McLean and Fraser Wishart are the privileged ones this afternoon. They are at Celtic Park. We're about 3.5 minutes away from kick-off, so let's get the final build-up with that duo.
Yeah, the atmosphere is picking up inside Celtic Park. There was live music a few moments ago. Now it's time for the supporters to make the noise and for the players to make their mark as well. The sun is shining here. There's a big display over to our left as well. The Celtic supporters with their green placards that are holding up their green flags. They're making themselves known in this game. They're making the noise and they are waiting for the players to come out. Fraser Wishart, as I say, the atmosphere is picking up. Gordon mentioned it there about Celtic have scored first in the last 5 Old Firm games. How important is a quick start in a game like this?
I think it's really important in any Old Firm game. I think particularly today, as we mentioned earlier, with Rangers not having any support here as well. Rangers have to start the game far better. But you're looking around the stadium, the Celtic fans, it's a kind of party atmosphere. I mean, I don't think Celtic fans are coming here in any kind of trepidation at all or any kind of concern. I think they fully expect their team to win and to virtually win the league and put a seal on the league. So Rangers can try and use that against them, because if they can get a good start to the game, get a goal ahead, start to dominate possession, then all of a sudden the Celtic fans might be saying, no, this isn't in the script. Today was about going 12 points ahead. So I do think that the start to the game is very important. Rangers have started poorly in recent Old Firm games and had to fight back. I don't think they can afford to again in this kind of atmosphere here at Celtic Park.
Yeah, that's where there is a huge motivation for both these sides, because if Celtic go on to win this game, this stadium will be a title castle. Despite the fact that numerically it won't be secure, 12 points and 7 games to go, the fans in here will know that it is pretty much done. They'll want that, the Celtic players will want that, the Rangers players will be desperate to stop that.
Yeah, I think Ange Postecoglou would be talking about this game. You can't say the title's won, and he wouldn't say that publicly, but I'm sure inside he's saying, listen, this could be it, this is virtually it if you win the game. They've only dropped 5 points all season, so if you go 12 points ahead, to expect them to drop 12 to now the end of the season is impossible, absolutely impossible. So there's no doubt in my mind Celtic will be up for this game as well.
Well, the noise really picking up inside Celtic Park as the players make their way onto the pitch. One of those players that's making their way onto the pitch is John Souttar. What an opportunity this is for him. I don't know how much notice he'll have got that he was starting this game. He's only had one start all season on the opening day of the campaign. We know about his injury issues. This is a huge opportunity for him to make his mark in a Rangers shirt.
Absolutely, and whether he can last the 90 minutes or not, we'll see. They've got Lundstrom on the bench who can maybe step in there. Not a lot of options, but we said it all, Mark and Gordon in the studio as well. He's a good player, John Souttar. He's played for Scotland, he's been outstanding for Scotland on occasion, but it's just his fitness. But as a football player, you sign for a club like Rangers or Celtic to play in these games. This is the big games in everybody's career, my own included. So you have this opportunity and he can go and make himself a hero. He'll have his hands full with Kyogo, who tends to play in between the two centre backs and is a real annoying player because sometimes doesn't take part in the game, but he's always looking to go in behind. So he'll have to be at his sharpest, John Souttar, and that is the only question for me is not his ability, it's can he last the game.
We talked about Ange Postecoglou's motivation. When you look at Michael Beale's motivation, the fact that in his 20 games in charge, the only 2 games he hasn't won are against Celtic. He'll want to go out there, get the victory, and be able to point to that as a sign of progress that this Rangers team are going in the right direction.
Absolutely, and even if it's not going to get them a win for Rangers, I still think Celtic will win the league, but it gives them that chance, that hope. If they win the next Old Firm game, will Celtic drop some points? But I think of equal importance would be the semi-final coming up, because the last thing that the Rangers would want is Celtic to win a treble. So with the semi-final coming up, a win today or even a draw and a good performance would just lift the confidence and the belief for the Rangers players going into that game.
Well, the scarves are up here at Celtic Park, the fans singing "You'll Never Walk Alone" as the Celtic players are in their huddle at the moment. The Rangers players are in position, they're waiting to get this game underway. The anticipation, it has all been building up to this moment, and we are just about to kick off at Celtic Park.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard. Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements. Buy now, pay nothing till 2024.
Well, Hugh Keevins, we spent all week arguing about how it impacts the atmosphere. It might be a different atmosphere, but listening to that, I don't think you can say there's no atmosphere.
No, it's a really terrific atmosphere, but ever so slightly party in advance, I feel, from the Celtic supporters, so that their team will have to live up to their supreme confidence in them.
Go on then. Your first hopeless prediction of the afternoon. This is the big one. They've all been waiting on it as Rangers go on the attack, so hurry up.
Celtic 2, Rangers 1.
Mark Wilson.
Celtic 3, Rangers 0.
Gordon Dalziel.
I'm going to go 2-2.
2-2, a 4-goal thriller, a score draw, says Gordon Dalziel. We will find out. We're underway, 30 seconds on the clock. Rangers the first ones to advance forward through Alfredo Morelos. Didn't have a great deal of support, and it went out for a throw-in. So yeah, Mark, we obsess with the starts to these games a bit, and I mentioned that stat that Rangers have conceded first in the last 5, which is not ideal, but at the same time they've not lost all of those, so how important is it?
Well, it is hugely important. I know Rangers on some of those occasions have managed to get themselves back into the game and then go in front. The game at Ibrox, and Celtic had to come from behind in that one in the latter stages, but it is crucial, especially here at Celtic Park. Now, the Rangers players who are taking to the field today will be familiar with a couple of early goals that they've lost before at Celtic Park and what that led to. That it just led to an absolute drubbing, really, and it could have been much worse for them. So I think if you're a Rangers fan and you lose an early goal, you will fear the floodgates opening yet again.
And Gordon, it's always interesting, these early exchanges, just to see how both teams are going to approach it. And Celtic, as you would expect, knocking it about at the back. It looks like Malik Tillman will be the closest to Morelos again. Maybe no real surprise. Well, Aaron Moy's given that away in a dangerous area. Here comes Ryan Kent, he's into the box. He's just forced to check back a bit by Cameron Carter-Vickers. Uncharacteristic that from Aaron Moy, and it gave a big chance to Rangers, but Joe Hart has it in his hands. Malik Tillman up closest to Morelos and looking to press Celtic relatively high, not go desperately and squeeze the life out of them, but he looks to be trying to stay close to Callum McGregor as well.
Yeah, that I think that's a big one. I think that when Celtic get it at the back and they're in possession, I think you'll see Tillman dropping off, try to make sure Celtic don't get that ammunition into McGregor. McGregor's a fantastic ball player. He knows how to open up defences. He can hit those midfield splitting passes. He's just a terrific player, McGregor. So they've got to sort of limit the amount of time he gets on the ball.
And you see how quickly it can happen, Mark. Rangers had that period there, the first couple of minutes of getting forward. Joe Hart took the cross, bowled it to Maeda. He was across the halfway line. It came across the other side of the pitch, and it didn't come to anything, but just more in terms of the speed at which this Celtic team can turn defence into attack.
Well, Maeda is such an outlet. We always talk about him in a pressing capacity, and he's very good at that. But like you say, Joe Hart gets the ball, his first thought is he knows Maeda's got the legs in Tavernier and he's over the top, and he manages to keep it well there. But you can see Celtic how their movement.
Oh, Celtic are in a bit of bother here. Joe Hart has come 45 yards out from goal when he didn't need to, and Carl Starfelt cleans up the mess that he was put in by Cameron Carter-Vickers. Celtic all over the place, but it goes out for a throw-in.
The passing is lackadaisical, and there's a hint of overconfidence about Celtic. I say the fans partied in advance. There's work to be done here, and that sloppy work so far. And Joe Hart, I mean, for me, he's a source of mystery. I know he gets very little to do, and he sometimes gives
To be
the
fair
impression.
though, that's Cameron Carter-Vickers' fault, isn't it? I mean, it's a completely blind pass to not really sure who, Mark Wilson.
Yeah, it's a poor pass. I just wonder why Joe Hart has tried to anticipate that so quickly.
Yeah.
Because I think Starfelt was getting there anyway, and Starfelt could have rolled it back to him.
If
But
you combine it with Aaron Moyhue, it's a couple of blind passes as well.
As I say, for me, it reeks of a team who are in the mindset where they think it's an inevitability that they will win, and that they need to get about their business.
I think the players will know that the task that's ahead of them. They only have to look at the league table and know that Rangers are their closest competitors, and they've got good players who can hurt them. These games, I was interested to hear Ange Postecoglou before that. We'll try and play a normal game and take things as normal, but these games aren't normal. At the start of them aren't normal. It's very difficult, and even this brilliant Celtic team, we've seen it in the past that passes do go astray.
I agree with you, Mark. I think it takes time for a game to settle down. A few bad.
Jota's turn to give it away. By the way, and then Cantwell had done it for Rangers in a really poor area just before and allowed Celtic to come forward. So
the only thing
a few
about
mistakes being made so far, but Celtic are in the box now. Kyogo, and we've got a goal at Celtic Park.
It's offside. It must be offside.
And the flag is going up. See how quickly I managed to
that
stop
was
the button. VAR will take a look, of course. It was a cross from Alistair Johnson into the chest of Kyogo. He dispatched it.
Well, he's a mile
he
off.
looks a good bit off. You never can tell for sure now with the lines, but yeah, he looks a good bit off. But a warning sign for Rangers.
The only thing I'd say about that is I'm looking at, I think it's Davis here. He's positioning. Kyogo just peels off him. He ball watches, and see if Kyogo's onside there and he loses a goal, you would be fuming at your centre back.
The amount of space he had, I'm not sure he had to be offside.
Well, you know what? I noticed it moments ago, and I was just going to say about Celtic's movement, and it was Davis before again. He actually went with Moy originally, the first one, and Kyogo was in behind him as well. Now that takes Suter to come over, but that time, Kyogo's just stand behind him. He has no idea he's there. What a pick out, by the way, from Johnson.
Sign, Hugh. It shows you how quickly Celtic can do that.
I mean, Kyogo took it wonderfully well. His misfortune was he was just offside, but that as well as being a warning sign, it might give Celtic the metaphorical shake that they require. You know, they know that they can end the league today. But here we go again with some chancy passing.
No, but this is the thing,
That's
Mark,
great play.
because when you get it right, because that Kyogo move actually starts when Ryan Kent and Malik Tillman go and try and squeeze Alistair Johnson, but he plays a very clever pass, and then that means one of them at least is eliminated.
Exactly, they're sprung. So Celtic are so good at it, they're working it probably day in day out in training, and they've got players who can take responsibility, take the ball in tight areas. Now you're right, they have to get it right, like Hugh's saying. If they don't, it falls apart, but they get it right that time and they break the press.
God, that's the beauty of it. It's cat and mouse. Fraser Wishart's watching it and he's telling us there as well, you know, Rangers are trying to press high up the park, playing the front foot, but if Celtic beat that press, then Rangers have got a real problem. So which bit of that's going to be the most effective? That's what wins the game today.
That's a gamble as a coach. You get a game plan going to Celtic Park if you're a Rangers manager, obviously, but if you're going to play a press like that, every player has got to get it right, because Celtic have got the quality. If they play around you, all of a sudden open you up. But I think, to be fair to Rangers, they've started at a good pace. There've been a few slack balls, and
hold on, it's getting a bit feisty because Cameron Carter-Vickers has slid through the back of Morelos. The referee, I don't think, is going to produce a yellow. I think it's just going to be, well, he might be well within his rights to. I think it's a talking to at this point in time, and he has
yellow. Yep.
Do you know what? I'm not sure there's that much contact, Gordon, but it's the type of mad lunge that you sometimes expect to go in the book for.
I think when we were all watching it, Gordon, we thought it'd got to be a yellow card. Now there's two ways of looking at this. As a referee, as people looking at it, pundits, you go, let the game go, it's early doors, it's a mistimed tackle, or it's a case of saying I'm stamping my authority on this game right away. So I'm not accepting anything like that. Won a good game of football, but I thought he was a wee bit harsh. But it's starting to liven up. The bit of football starting to get played. But I go back to Rangers pressing. They've got it wrong maybe once, but I like the way they're going about their business. I think it's the best way. If you don't get it right, Celtic will cut
when
you
you're
open
a
right
defender like Cameron Carter-Vickers, it's a long afternoon for you now, because it is a Celtic Rangers game and you've got more than 80 minutes to negotiate, and you'll have to be very, very careful in every challenge. I was a bit disturbed by some of the press concerning this game during the week, where former players were suggesting that unless there are red cards and there's mayhem, it's not a real Old Firm game. That they're there to play football, and both of them do it very well. So, you know, Cameron and Carter Vickers, I think, deserved the yellow card there.
You just wonder, Mark, about, you know, how much of that is the occasion and the hype. We know he's a pretty composed guy generally. Does Cameron Carter Vickers slide in like that with 7 minutes gone against Ross County at Celtic Park?
It's a good argument. You're probably not. Just, you know, the occasion does get to the best players, where you get caught up in things. You almost think you need to make a mark in the game early doors. I think Cameron Carter Vickers wee bit caught up there, because it's on the halfway line. Morelos isn't going to run away from you. If anything, the ball's running through Morelos, so it's a foolish one for him, and probably a right decision.
Just one, because that came so quickly after, that got lost. Something that the Rangers fans have been impressed with, maybe surprised by, is how physically able Todd Cantwell is. I think there was maybe a misconception before that he was a bit of a creative flair type. He sort of went over and out-muscled Greg Taylor, left him in a heap. That's what started the move that led to the Carter Vickers
but he's probably, there's more to his game than we know, Gordon. He's a very skillful player, but what I have noticed about Rangers is the rotation between Cantwell and Tillman. Cantwell's coming in, sometimes going to the right, Tillman's coming in on McGregor, going to right. They're swapping over, so obviously it's something that Michael Beale's worked on.
Getting their first real taste of Maeda against Tavernier. He tried to take him to the line, then checked back, and Tavernier got the block.
We saw it at Hampden, that duel several times in the first half. Maeda ran it out the pitch, I think, a couple of times, but of course that's where the goal came from in the latter stages of that game. So that will be interesting. You know, both of them know each other inside out. How that one will unfold this afternoon.
Very interesting tactically early on, Gordon, because again you see Cantwell there, he tries to spring but it gets passed round him, and then what do you do?
I think he went too early there. He's never getting there. He just took himself right out of the game. That's what I'm saying. I like the way Rangers are going out with the game plan of pressing, but you've got to press at the right time. You can't well seen the ball going there. He must use a bit of experience and say, I can't get there, but he goes because he's that anxious to press, and they just play around him very easily.
But he does well. Cantwell in his own corner flag backheels it off the Celtic player out for a goal kick. And now Celtic's chance to press from the front, we've not seen it yet. I think that's Alan McGregor's first goal kick, and looking at how Rangers do, and they've done really well to get out of it until Nicholas Raskin loses it, wins it back, loses it again.
In general terms,
Aaron Moy thinks he's got 2.5 hours on the ball in a fixture like this, Hugh, and he's been absolutely left in the dust by Malik Tillman.
Moy
but you don't tend to leave Alistair Johnson in the dust.
Moy is on Australian time. He thinks that time stands still in Glasgow. Takes far too long there. What I would say in general terms, Gordon, 12 minutes into the match, it's a far superior spectacle than the Viaplay Cup final was at this stage. That was a very ponderous start to the game there, but this is a bit special.
Yeah, it is lively, and a couple of stray moments for Aaron Moy as well, Gordon. He had a great run of form, and then he'd had his injury, a couple of games out. There's obviously no Hatate today, but you know, there's one blind pass, there's one there where everybody can see that he doesn't have the time that he thinks he does.
Yeah, he's missed a couple of games, Gordon, but he's a quality player. He's just he'll settle into the pace of it. Yeah, he's get caught a couple of times. That's just down to the Rangers pressing so quickly.
Here goes Maeda to the corner of the box. He thinks about the shot, gives it back to his captain, who does shoot. McGregor spills, takes it at the second time of asking.
Nice play that from Celtic. Maeda in particular choosing not to run Tavernier, come inside, little back heel. McGregor, how many times have we seen him on his left foot from the corner of the box?
Should he have slipped Matt O'Reilly down
maybe,
the side of the box?
In hindsight maybe, but I think when he gets out his feet with his left foot, he's only thinking of one thing there. But a good move from Celtic. Cal McGregor, I'm just watching him there. He seems to be the only one with any composure, and almost every game he plays, very rarely gives it away, just eases into games.
Aaron Moy, you can't say the same about him. He gives it away again, and that allows Morelos to drop deep, go out the other side. This is one of the first sort of sustained or impatient build-up attacks, if you like, from Rangers, but then Tavernier gives it away, And it is frantic because Aaron Moy then gives it away. I think that's 4 or 5 for Aaron Moy.
He's not had the
terrible.
best 13 minutes, is he? He's
Wow.
He's very rarely do you see him play like that. Maybe in the start of his Celtic career where he was a bit slow and
It
ponderous.
needs a bit of composure. As much as we like the excitement, it's fast, it's quick, but it needs players with the quality that's on the pitch. A bit of
That
composure.
shows you there's Moy, right? Been to a World Cup, played in huge games, and then he comes into this frantic atmosphere and he's been all over the place for 13 minutes.
If I'd been the manager, he'd been off in the water. Would be honest.
He don't hang around. It does show you, Mark, when the time is right. The ball went back there to Joe Hart. He put his foot right through it, cleared it up the pitch, which is tough. That if you're Rangers, you're delighted at that, because Kyogo, by the way, in fairness to him, made a good attempt at jumping, but it's just not his strength.
No, that's exactly what if for Rangers you want Celtic to do. Force them to kick it to Kyogo, and then you've got Suter and Davies there mopping it up. And this is the first time I think Rangers have taken their time. Just I think both teams could do with this, just slowing things down, just getting a touch of the ball, stringing 5 or 6 passes.
You see how good Celtic are at pressing though. Kyogo goes and robs Tavernier, but luckily for him, Maeda overruns it, and Morelos gets an important touch. This could set Rangers on their way, and there might be a bit of. Is it
Carter
flag gone up?
Vickers.
It looks like someone stopped goal kick.
Yeah.
Carter Vickers maybe. Gordon, is he risking things there?
No, I don't think that's. But he's just got to watch. He doesn't want to keep attracting the attention of the referee.
As I
He's
said
all
to you-
on a bad yellow. But what is Aaron Moy? Has he got his boots on the right foot? Sunday,
There's no harm done there because there was so much space that Alistair Johnson got it anyway. But wow, Aaron Moy looks ropey. Hugh
Well,
Keevins.
yeah, absolutely. You could try every euphemism in the book, like he looks a bit ring rusty and so on and so forth, but he is, to use another expression with 2 R's in it, he's rank rotten so far. But if we tell players all week long, and we write about this game all week long as being a matter of life or death, then it must get to some of them in the end. And Celtic are playing fairly well, but there's some ropey old moments there.
A very direct cross from Celtic, not one you see. It was so deep from Greg Taylor. Mark, it doesn't usually resort to that.
Strange one. I'm pretty sure the manager doesn't ask him to do that very often, but no other thought in his mind there. He just gets out his feet.
I've got to say, we can say everything about it. It's like getting in and coaching young kids, putting a ball in the playground, they all chase it, and they're all kicking it one direction. There's no quality to this game at all. You can bum it up any way you want. It needs to settle down. The only one for me,
I think it's breaking down at times, but
showing a bit of composure is Cal McGregor in Midley Park. He's not giving the ball away, but the rest of the players seem to be slack with the ball, holding on to it too much. I don't know if it's just the occasion just now getting to him, but we're 16 minutes in.
Or here's a random theory for you, right? Bear with me, and this will upset Celtic fans more than Rangers, because I get they're 9 points clear. They've been very dominant in the fixture. Is what's sometimes lost in all this, Mark. This is Team 1 versus Team 2 in the country. There doesn't always necessarily have to be a lot between these sides. They're trying to they will cancel each other out, because Celtic's press will be good and then Rangers' press will be good, because it should be. They're
of course,
relatively
it should
evenly
be.
matched. Celtic will win the league and they'll deserve to, but there's not that much in it sometimes when they go head to head.
Well, historically that's the way it's always been. Not much in it.
Jota shoots, palmed away. Alan McGregor, O'Reilly doesn't really know where it is, and Todd Cantwell breaks, brought down. And Callum McGregor, Todd Cantwell's making the point that should be a booking for stopping a promising attack.
I agree,
think
that's a booking.
Yeah, it should be.
I would be very surprised if Cal McGregor. It's Cal McGregor that starts the attack. It's a good attack. Jota cuts in to that left foot.
Good effort from
Yeah,
Jota.
but you expect McGregor to save that, and he does. But I think Callum McGregor will be very lucky to escape a yellow here.
No, he's not getting one, I don't think.
Well, I thought that
He's
was
got away
poor
with one there.
decision, yeah.
Because Mark, we sometimes get bogged down on looking at the severity of the actual foul itself, about whether that quantifies or justifies a yellow card or not. But that rule is key, stopping a promising attack.
Oh, well,
Todd
it was.
Cantwell has got Celtic Park to
Exactly.
gallop into in front of him.
The amount of Celtic bodies that were committed at that time. Cantwell's touch is clever away from McGregor. McGregor takes him out, cynical, and he's lucky there. Yeah,
Better this from Rangers. Celtic had a little spell there, but now Rangers come back. Raskin's involved a lot, Gordon, as we thought he might be.
Yeah, he's an important player. I think the partnership with Ryan Jack's very good for Rangers. I think that's one going forward. I know Ryan Jack's still looking at this contract situation, but if I was Michael Beale, I'd be looking to keep the two. I think they just look like they're comfortable with playing with each other in the middle of the park. I think they know their games.
Good there from Carl Starfelt, Lamar. Good aggression, because Cantwell had it slipped down, and we always talk about centre backs not wanting to go out to that corner area, but he did well, and it's a throw in.
Yes, he's certainly someone that's definitely improved. You know, playing with Carter Vickers and the guys running about him, does well there, but he has to face a corner kick here.
Yeah, first corner for Rangers. What can they do in this situation? 19 minutes gone. Set pieces have played a big part in these fixtures in recent seasons, Gordon.
Set plays play a massive part in modern day football now, because people work on it. You know, it's one of these, if you get a good delivery in there, Rangers have got decent height there with Davis and Suter. Cantwell's not bad, Tillman's decent in the air, so it's all about the delivery. Put Celtic under pressure, and they did.
Goal flashes.
Oh, it's not.
Oh, again.
Oh, that button.
Alfredo Morelos has the ball in the net.
What's that?
Kevin Clancy spotted something and it's been ruled out, but it might get ruled back in again because of VAR. Alfredo Morelos protests his innocence for a push on Alistair Johnson. Either way, Hugh, this is going to be hugely contentious because they're both at it. Johnson has got Morelos' shirt.
No, that's a two-handed push. 100% two-handed push on Morelos and Johnson.
Johnson does have him first though.
Yeah.
Well, the two of them have got each other, but then you can't elevate that to just pushing them off.
When I watch at the beginning there, I'm thinking Morelos might get away with this, but you're right, Mark. I think it was the two hands.
So I was about to say that when Rangers got the corner, you know, they'll miss Goldson here because he's always a threat in the air. Scored a couple of goals against Celtic at Celtic Park with his head. I don't think they dealt with it convincingly.
It's a terrific defense. Ball, by the way. Yeah, absolute terrific ball from Barisic.
I say to you about the delivery. It's all about delivery at set plays. But I'm watching this again, Gordon. Johnson has grabbed him, but just that the ball comes, Morelos does make that movement and just push him.
Yeah. There's no doubt Johnson's got a hold of his shirt, and Rangers fans will say, well, why is that not a foul? Morelos, though, has got a hold of Johnson's shirt as well. And then at the last instance he pushes him.
I didn't see a Celtic hand go up though. They all looked as if to say, oh, a goal down. But anyway, Kevin Clancy.
I think, to be fair, the whistle went so quickly actually, didn't it?
But anyway, we'll say after 21 minutes they both scored, both had it disallowed, and both decisions were correct.
I can't argue with that here. As you know, we're looking for the first goal, because I think the first goal lights up the game. It really does. But I think the referees called the two decisions correctly.
20 minutes in,
we're definitely going to argue about this for sure, because you can make a case about Alistair Johnson having him first to try and second guess referees, which is not easy ever. You just wonder if, by the way, Aaron Moy, Mark Wilson.
I'm laughing because it sometimes gets that bad that you have to think, oh, we've all been there. You just cannot complete a pass. You even try and do the easy one that he done to Alistair Johnson moments ago, and he overhit that. He's just going through a difficult time.
He'll either be hooked or score the winning goal. Such is the nature of this game.
Yeah.
Well, he takes a penalty kick, you.
Oh, well. But anyway, I told you 10 minutes ago I'd have had him off with Iwata on. And you all laughed at me. Now you're all telling me how awful he is.
Well, listen, you're not going to.
He's not had the best 22 minutes. I would say that.
Here we go, another euphemism. He's not had the best 20.
But listen, a game's not decided. Your performance is not decided in 22 minutes. It's over a period of time. He could make that pass that opens up the defence. He could score a penalty. He could score a free kick. Oh, there he is. He's back in the game.
I think that pass was for McGregor, actually. He was lucky Starfelt was behind him.
Oh, maybe he's shouting to Postecoglou, you not listen to Keevins, get me off.
Good play that from Celtic. Open things up a bit.
Yeah, Celtic not clicking in the final third at all at the moment.
Just when you look at Kyogo, 22 minutes in, obviously he scores a goal that's been ruled out, but apart from that, very rarely touched the ball. Celtic choosing to go to Maeda.
Look at that for a pass.
Dyson Maeda joins in, just fires one out of pitch.
I've always thought that no away fans puts greater pressure on the home team, because the fans partied before the game started as if they were accepting that this was a home win. And the longer it goes on, the clumsiness, the lack of composure is not going away.
Yeah, I agree. It was another poor one. But you're talking about Kyogo there, Mark, and I totally agree. But see, if you're at the ground and you're probably his movement will be brilliant. His work rate's been brilliant.
Yeah.
You know, you can add a bit to the team without scoring the goals and getting on the ball all the time. But I just think this game so far has been very scrappy in the sense of passing.
Yeah, there's not much in it, is there? Well, based on that, based at Celtic are favourites, it's at Celtic Park, no crowd, etc. Does Michael Beale become the happier?
Yeah, I think so.
Slightly more of the ball, Rangers.
Yeah, I think so. To be honest with you, I thought Celtic would have really come out in the front foot this afternoon at Celtic Park. There's 60,000 there behind them. I think Rangers have got it right so far in the pressing, but they've just got to be careful at the back because you know how dangerous Celtic are.
Anyway, it's fascinating. I think Michael Beale would be the happier of the two, to answer your question, Gordon, because you know we've seen it as recently as last September. Celtic, what were they, 3 up by half time? That's not going to happen today. And you know, Rangers, I think, have shown a lot of spirit.
Well, you've got to say, you know, Rangers are doing very well in terms of pressing. Even every time Celtic work it into the wide areas, you see how many bodies Rangers get over to that wide area, almost try to suffocate Celtic, leave no gaps.
Kevin Clancy gave a corner to Celtic, but something's changed his mind. Perhaps his assistant had a better look at it. Matt O'Reilly thought he had won a corner. It was Aaron Moy who just swung the ball into the box. Now, it did look about 50-50 in terms of who got there first between Ryan Jack and Matt O'Reilly.
I think that's a corner, to be honest with you.
Possibly.
I think that come off Ryan Jack's.
I've always got a bit of sympathy in those ones. I know everybody will keep watching the slow-mo replay and let's be honest, that's tough, isn't it, for those guys down there?
Yeah, you're talking about Kyogo, this man on the ball. I think Celtic fans will want to see a bit more of Jota as well. Maeda and the left wing's not being involved as much as they would want. O'Reilly, I think it's a big day for O'Reilly because there was question marks whether Celtic fans were thinking that he should start a game, and he's a terrific player.
Celtic are in the box, Kyogo back to goal, and we have an opener at Celtic Park.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
We've had 2 ruled out already. Does this one stand? No immediate reason to suggest why not, and it is Celtic's top scorer for the season. Celtic 1, Rangers 0. Kyogo rolled into him, back to goal, spins, smashes the ball goalward. McGregor gets something on it, can't keep it out, and with 26 gone, barring VAR intervention, it's Celtic 1, Rangers 0.
VAR would need to have a vivid imagination to call that one off. But
yeah, it's excellent from Matt O'Reilly, isn't it?
Kyogo, we were counting the number of touches he had. The great ones don't really need a lot of touches. It's what they do in the killer moments, and that was the killer moment.
Well, Mark said you've not seen a lot of them, and that's what strikers do. I've got to say, it's a fantastic touch into O'Reilly. He picks out Kyogo. I'm going to go a negative way for Rangers here. I think Ben Davis is terrible. It's great. Look, I'm not taking it as great. I'm saying if you're Rangers and you're looking at it in a negative way, Davis, my goodness.
Yeah. Terrific from Kyogo. Absolutely terrific. First touch is brilliant. The awareness to spin and put it away, great. But Matt O'Reilly's involvement in that, a big afternoon for him, by the way. Put in the team ahead of Iwata. What a first touch. And then to have the awareness to get his head up and cut it back. How many goals do we see Celtic scoring from cutbacks? He knows his striker's going to be there, and he is. And look, you could pick holes in Rangers defensively. You know, you even see a slow-mo, people, Barisic again turning his back, Davis a yard off Kyogo. See, at this level, you cannot be a yard off a guy like Kyogo in the penalty area. But what a goal from a Celtic point of view.
27 for the season. Gordon gets a double to win the cup when these sides meet not so long ago. Gets the equaliser at Ibrox to get a point for Celtic that some people view as, you know, deciding the league that day. Never mind today. His contribution this season's just been incredible, hasn't it?
Yeah, I'm just quickly going to clarify. I think Postecoglou will be the happiest of managers. He's been brilliant, and I understand what Mark says about we've not seen a lot of him because you expect so much of him. His runs off the ball, his work rate to take defenders away, makes space for his teammates, is brilliant. He never stops working, and when that one chance there comes to him in the box, he just control, turn. That's a top class finish.
The time between now and the interval is crucial for Rangers. If they concede again.
Here's Malik Tillman, he's got a pocket of space but drags it, ends up quite wide in the end, and he'll be disappointed with that.
And that underlines my point. The time between now and the interval, if Rangers concede again, they're in serious trouble. But they ought to be looking to bring this back to equality before the interval, and Tillman had a reasonable chance there. So Celtic also have to be mindful. The goal from Kyogo doesn't mean the shop's shut early.
Yeah, Gordon, we perhaps don't need to labour this point when there is an hour left. Rangers might come back and get something from this game, but as a sort of snapshot, I wonder if this sums up the difference, because there's nothing in this game really. You can see it. The Celtics still have that bit of extra quality in the final third that the Rangers either don't have or are still trying to work on under Michael Beale.
Yeah, I think they're sharper. I think they're sharper in front of goals, because right now they've got the best centre forward in Scotland. The goals he's scoring, his movement, his work off the ball, as we always describe, playing with such confidence, knows how to score in these big games. I don't think Rangers have got that in their locker just now, but at 1-0 they're still in the game, so they've got to believe that. Just going back to the Tillman chance here, Hugh, it was a good chance, but it was going to take something special from that angle for me.
He's on the corner of the 18-yard box.
Yeah, it's going to take something special.
Did he almost have more time than he realised?
I think so.
You don't expect to find yourself in that space the way he did.
Yeah, because Starfelt get drawn out of that position.
Ball over the top here. Jota squares it. And his pinball between the Rangers central defenders, and it ends up beyond Alan McGregor, but he comes in. Makes no fuss in the end. But I think did John Souttar clear it off Ben Davies or vice versa?
By the way, right area, right time. You know, how many times have we seen here at Celtic Park the Rangers back four strung out and in
Todd
wrong
Cantwell
positions?
Never mind.
No, doesn't do well at all.
Jota fires, parried Alan McGregor. The dip on that effort from Jota was quite something. I think McGregor initially expected to tip it over the bar, and it ends up about waist height, Mark Wilson.
Yeah, incredible strike. I thought maybe he could have taken it in, but I thought he still had a few yards to go. But incredible strike. Celtic just on top at the minute, showing they can mix it up with that long ball over the top. Barisic getting caught there. So
I agree with you, Mark. I think that Jota's got to take that on. No disrespect to him, you're saying incredible strike. I'm expecting McGregor to save that 10 out of 10.
I know this is nothing new, right? We know where Celtic's fullbacks play, but it still surprises you a bit. There's an interesting duel going on between Ryan Jack and Greg Taylor.
Yeah.
And you think, how does Rangers defensive midfielder come up against Celtic's left back so often? But different days, Gordon Dalziel.
Yeah, it's just the way Celtic play. They get their fullbacks into the middle of the park and overload in there. And to be fair, I think it was Martin Thursday said, I didn't know Greg Taylor started as a midfield player. Is that right?
Yeah.
So he feels very comfortable in there.
Free kick Celtic. It's a bit central though. It's always a difficult one. And Ben Davies does well, heads it away for a throw in.
I think Celtic smell blood at the moment. They know that a second goal before half time would be a serious psychological blow to Rangers. And they're trying very hard to get it.
I think next goal is so crucial, Hugh. You're right. If Celtic get it, then Celtic fans will party, because Rangers ain't going to come there and score 3 this afternoon. But at 1-0, and we've seen it with Tillman, a wee half chance just after a goal. We see a good move down the right again here from Jota, replay. The Rangers 2 centre backs are very, very fortunate. But I'm just looking at that chance again from Jota. Yeah, it was but
the way he hits the ball, you know, the way players hit the ball now
no
to get that dip. You did that in your day.
I would have caught that. You're expecting a goalie.
Not are you joking? See the way that ball dips. I genuinely
that
think
is right at Alan McGregor.
Yeah,
he's made 500 appearances for Rangers. He's
so
saving that.
He did save it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You're wanting me to catch it.
I would have caught that.
The power and the dip. No. The game's different for you.
Catch him. Listen, you got a pair of gloves for one reason, Mark. There's part of catching the ball. We've seen many a goalkeeper come out, keepers away, ball in the back of the net. All days were the best.
But I think Hugh's right here. This period is crucial. I think Celtic do sense they're on top. They've been here before. If they get another goal, they add another one, then it's curtains, I think,
it
for
is
Rangers.
now 6 in a row that Celtic have scored first in the fixture, Hugh. Like I said, that does include, you know, a 1-1 draw at Celtic Park earlier. Sorry, at the tail end of last season. It does include the cup game where Rangers came back to win it. It does include the 2-2. So it doesn't mean to say that they always go on and win from here.
No, but right at this moment, it seems as if the wind has gone out of Rangers' sails, and Celtic are looking to do something before half time that will be significant in the game. If they get a second goal, you would have to fancy them very, very strongly.
Aaron Moy, I just cannot find a pass for some reason.
The thing is, some of them
Here he comes, he'll score.
He's going to bang one in from 40 yards.
Yeah, he'll probably score. Where it suits Celtic is they can sit there.
Do you know what's interesting though? Because that one that you elaborate on, it did go to his teammate, but even the ones that are getting there are not in the way that they should.
They have to move
they
to
have
get
to sort of move to go and get it.
Where I think this suits Celtic is they can sit now and be patient and wait for Rangers to try that press and then break them down and go and try. They've got command of the game just now. They're 1-0 up. They're at home, 60,000. They're in a very good place. They can be in command of this game if they want. It's up to Rangers to try and get, through Celtic and get something to give them a bit of hope.
Morelos goes down under the attention of Callum McGregor, and it's a free kick to Rangers just inside the Celtic half. 35 gone. Next 10 minutes are huge, Hugh.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if Rangers equalise, you can forget all that's gone before. We have parity, and that would make it a different game altogether. So the next 10 minutes, nothing may happen. There may not be another goal following on from Kyogo's opener.
The only thing I would say, Hugh, I could be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, 35 minutes, has Joe Hart had a save?
No, I wouldn't say so.
That's the worrying thing for me. As much as I think Rangers have done all right at times, they've not tested the goalkeeper once. The Celtic players are giving Joe Hart.
I was going to say Carter Vickers has just asked him again to sort of sprint out and collect a wayward pass.
It's a simple pass as well from Carter Vickers. It's on his left foot, but just roll it back to him easy. And I don't know, just one of those games, the occasion seems to have crept up in Carter Vickers, where you usually see him so calm and collected.
Carl Starfelt is the most composed of the two so far, you would say,
and that's a miracle. So Carter Vickers, you'd have to say, has been the model of consistency this season. You'd also have to say that people were talking about Aaron Moy as a possible contender for player of the year, but both of them are struggling at the minute.
Do you know we had a caller on the other night?
Ben Davis does really well, whoever it is. Three Celtic players round them.
We had a caller on here the other night screaming about Ryan Kent, that Jamie Murphy's better than Ryan Kent. See, at this moment I think he is. I've not once again 36. Maybe I expect too much of Ryan Kent, give him too much compliments of how good a footballer he is. But these are the games that you've got. If you've been brought in at 7 million, go and show why people have paid big money for you. Ryan Kent has contributed nothing.
I would agree with that in this game. He obviously scores a goal at Ibrox, and it was fantastic wing play. But in this game, I've not seen once Barisic or Jack or Tillman get the ball and fizz it out to his feet, Ryan Kent's feet. Everything has been lumped up to Morelos or came down the other side. So as much as I agree with you, he's hardly had the ball fed into him.
There are obviously issues on both sides. Of course, Connor Goldson ruled out either last night or this morning, and obviously long-term ones, Tom Lawrence and so on. But as the camera goes on Hatate and Abada, Gordon, in terms of contribution in this fixture in recent seasons, in the last year and a half, Celtic would have loved to have those available, but the current crop are doing fine. They're in front.
Hatate brings so much, and I think Abada would have definitely started, and there's no doubt he's been absolutely brilliant. Abada, probably in the big games like this, he tends to go with Maeda and Jota. McGregor getting caught up in one or two wee things here.
He got away with one earlier, Callum McGregor, but he has to be careful.
No, I think this isn't. It's a free kick to Celtic, which, by the way, Rangers players are unhappy about because they felt Tillman slid in and won the ball. But it's a little bit of afters. Callum McGregor's just trying to get the ball back off Nicholas Raskin.
Was there not? Did Raskin's head not come off McGregor there?
I think the two heads came together.
No.
I think it was unintentional because two of them were trying
Both
to
went forward.
wrestle for the ball. Unnecessary. I get Cal McGregor's trying to get the ball back, Raskin's trying to slow things down, so I get both sides of that. Just need to be careful because flared up out of nothing.
Is Kevin Clancy going to book them both? I don't like that. You could easily let that go because it's one for both, couldn't you? I'm not saying you just disregard the rules before anyone, I get that, but in that instance, like as Mark says, one's holding on to it, the other one's trying to get it back. There's just not much in it. You need to book them both.
No, I don't think so, but I think he's looked at the situation where Cam McGregor's been involved in 3 situations
but
now.
it can't be that, because why is Raskin booked
I know,
him?
but I don't think that they should have booked him there and just let the play go on. They've sorted it out, move on. See, to be fair, I'm having a go at Kent, right? And because I think that for the Rangers fans, he's frustrating in these games. He needs to step up here. But
Johnson,
he's terrific, Mark.
Been brilliant this afternoon.
He must be a nightmare to play against. I always said, show him down the line and then go and press him at the right time. And he's taking everything on board.
He has been great, even in possession. He's been one of the calmer ones in possession, but defensively, so quick across the ground, so aggressive as well. Doesn't back off. He's been a terrific signing because Juranovic is hard shoes to fill, but he certainly is no problem at all.
He's a better defender than Juranovic ever was.
I think he is. I would agree with that, and I thought that would be hard, Hugh, to fill, but he certainly showed it in these big games as well. It's about the big games, not just your run-of-the-mill league games. When you can step up and play against Rangers and show the type of ability and aggression you have in these games, then you'll do alright by the Celtic fans.
He's a player when the ball's getting played up to you. As an opposition player, you're looking to see where he is, because he's not frightened to get in and let you know he's about. He's a very, very good player.
I know it's hard to believe there's any other football on this lunchtime, but the Scotland goal machine, Scott McTominay's done it again. He's scored for Man United against Everton. Good to see that we've had a positive impact on Man United's season, because they needed it. Although we had a tough couple of games, I think, immediately following the international break. But there we are. Maybe they've stuck him up top.
Just talking about Johnson there, balls fed into Tillman, the halfway line. The aggression shown. He wins the ball fairly, but he takes it. Tillman's back on his feet now, but he felt that there.
It looked similar to the one Carter Vickers got booked for, with the obvious difference. Did Johnson get there first? And Aaron Moy gives it away again. Can I get an Aaron Moy gives it away again button to match the goal flash? That way I can just play it without.
We're saying that about Aaron Moy because of the ability that the boy's got. He usually never gives the ball away, but he's never found a green jersey this afternoon so far.
On the other side, Tillman, is he struggling a little bit to get going, Mark, in an attacking sense?
Well, these were the big games we were chatting about last week. If he was going to make a real impression, I know he's still young, but he has to step up in the big games, and too many of these he's went missing. I think this first 45 again, he's been disappointing. He's one half chance comes where he's in the box, but I know you guys were saying it was a hard chance. It was a hard chance, but he should hit the target. He's got the ability. He shows that against the lesser teams in the league, but he has to step up in the big ones.
41.5 on the clock. Celtic lead by 1-0. They had the ball in the net first. It was ruled out correctly for offside. Rangers had the ball in the net. They feel hard done by. They feel Alfredo Morelos' goal should have stood. It didn't. And then Celtic took the lead through Kyogo with just a couple of minutes left of the first half.
That's a good tackle. We're seeing it again with Johnson.
Absolutely perfect.
Tillman's waiting for the ball to come. Johnson decides, I'm going to win it. He gets the ball. There's nothing up with that tackle at all.
I think that's the story of the game at this moment. Rangers are second to everything.
I think that Rangers' problem just now, and I totally understand it, is they spend a lot of time figuring out how to stop Celtic, and then when they get the ball, I don't know where their game plan is coming from.
But in saying that, in the early stages,
Jota,
the graphic.
Jota just tries something unnecessary there in the middle of the pitch and gives it away, and Cantwell's got a bit of space to move into.
I was going to say Rangers had the majority possession, when the graphic came up
59-41.
So they stop Celtic, they get the ball back, but you're right, but then building in that is a problem. You think with the personnel they've got in there, with Tillman, Kent and Cantwell's just fell out of the game. When was the last time we mentioned him? Very, very poor going forward so far.
In a game
that's better from Ryan Kent. First time he's nipped it past Alistair Johnson. and he will get away from Aaron Moy, but he just can't get enough. Well, hold on, it's fallen actually to the edge of the box. There's a bit too much on it for Tillman.
Here's a chance with Tavernier.
Free kick, Tavernier territory, perfect
Lucky to get
shooting
away with
opportunity.
a booting, yeah, it does get
And
booked.
Matt O'Reilly has been booked for a foul right on the edge of the box. He went sliding in on Tillman. He had to get it right, and I don't think he did.
He went very, very early with his slide, and I think Tillman just nicks it before him. But
All credit to Kent down the left hand side. He never gave up on it. That's what you're looking off him. Get there, be positive, make things happen. And he's given Rangers a good opportunity here to test Joe Hart.
Yeah, it's
Tavernier written all over it.
Banging James Tavernier territory. You've seen this movie many, many times before. The Rangers skipper, no stranger to burying free kicks from this sort of distance.
has he scored a couple this season?
Afternoon. Got
One at Livy, one at Motherwell. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, is Barisic here as well?
Really
He'd be as well just stand to the side.
But it's quite central, isn't it?
Oh, I don't know.
No. Barisic, take a seat.
Yeah, they're whispering to each other. I think they're saying, I bet they think I'm going to hit it. There's no chance here, Tav.
James Tavernier's got 15 for the season, 6 since the turn of the year, actually. 6 since the end of January.
He's given it the rugby. 1.
Johnny Wilkinson number.
Yeah, James Tavernier's going to fire this goal, we're no doubt about it. And it's a wonderful goal from James Tavernier.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
They don't get much better than that. Off the underside of the bar, Joe Hart no chance. Celtic Park silent. It's Celtic 1, Rangers 1, right on the stroke of half time.
Whole complexion of the afternoon changes now. You can say all you like about Celtic having smelt blood and so on and so forth. That is a magnificent free kick from James Tavernier, and we're back to where we started at 12:30, because all that has gone before doesn't count for anything now. Rangers are back in this game.
I've got to say, that is a sensational free kick. You will struggle to find a better free kick this season than that. Over the wall, whipped with pace, and off the bar. Joe Hart has absolutely no chance for 25 yards out.
On the balance of play, you probably couldn't grudge it, Gordon. It's been a fairly even game. At the same time, if you're Celtic, Rangers haven't had a shot on target. You're a minute away from half time. Does Matt O'Reilly need to go sliding in? Rangers haven't broken you down yet. Even the Morelos goal that was ruled out comes from a corner. They've not got in behind. Will that be frustrating for Ange Postecoglou?
100%. When he gives that free kick away, I think everybody's eyes lit up with Tavernier, and we said it, Tavernier territory. You could have strapped 2 garage doors to Joe Hart's hands there, and he still ain't getting that. That was top quality.
That's as good a free kick as you can get.
Well, when players practice free kicks for that range in the training ground, some for hours on end, probably Tavernier does. You would struggle to get one as perfect as that. Maybe if you're picky, right over in the top corner might be it, but in off the bar with pace, direction, dip, all you could ask for from a free kick, he's delivered there, and at a big moment for Rangers, because quite often he has been the whipping boy.
Todd Cantwell will go in the book as well. He's had a couple of nibbles at Greg Taylor, just got a bit overexcited. And to carry on that point, Mark, we do this after the game. James Tavernier, I'm sure, does have his faults, but the focus on them in light of the good things that he does, it is quite remarkable, isn't it? You look at that, 17 for the season. And again, 16, again, people bang on about penalties, but the ability from those situations.
Well, that's just a different level, taking it up from penalty kicks, because how hard that is to do. The Celtic fans would have seen some wonderful free kicks at that end. Nakamura's against Man United and others that will live long in the memory, but that one is right up there.
Half time, Celtic Park, Andrew McLean and Fraser Wishart.
Celtic 1, Rangers 1, the half-time score. A frantic opening 45 minutes. Kyogo opening the scoring for the host, but James Tavernier's free kick levelled things up just before the break. Early on, Celtic had the ball in the back of the net. Just 5 minutes in, it was Alistair Johnson's ball over the top of the Rangers defence. Kyogo took it down on the turn, slotted it past Alan McGregor, but the flag went up immediately, and that one was ruled out. But it was, as I say, a frantic opening period of the game, which continued throughout, high intensity, both sides battling throughout the game. There was a time shot from Callum McGregor 12 minutes in, that was gathered by Alan McGregor. The Rangers goalkeeper then had to be alert 5 minutes later. Jota cutting inside, a powerful shot that was beaten away by McGregor. It was in Rangers' turn to have a goal disallowed at the other end. The ball ending up in the back of the net after a corner. Alfredo Morelos though Rangers to have fouled Alistair Johnston, and that one didn't stand. The next time the ball hit the net though, it counted. 26 minutes gone. A good move down the left from Celtic. It came to Matt O'Reilly. He did well, cut it back into the centre of the box, and there was Kyogo on the turn, and he fired past Alan McGregor for the opener. Jota tried to make it two with a dipping effort from distance that McGregor could only carry away. Rangers did struggle to create too much from open play, but a Matt O'Reilly foul gave Rangers a chance for a free kick right at the end of the half. Up stepped James Tavernier, and what a strike it was off the underside of the bar. I'm not sure he could have hit it any better, and Celtic Park fell absolutely silent as the Rangers players wheeled off in celebration. The half-time score here is Celtic 1, Rangers 1, and an entertaining half of football, Fraser Wisher.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it, Andrew, I have to say, and I think on the balance of play, Rangers deserved that equaliser. I think Michael Beale in the dressing room and the fans at home who are listening, watching the game, will be happy with the team's performance. But you know, 25 minutes gone, I turned to you and said, I think Michael Beale will be quite happy so far. The Celtic weren't their usual fluent self. They were Rangers harrying Celtic into mistakes. They were keeping possession of the ball. And then all of a sudden Celtic, piece of brilliance, absolutely brilliant. The way they do, they work it so well. They get to the byline, lovely play by O'Reilly, brilliant finish by Kyogo. And for 5-10 minutes after that, Rangers were rocking, and Celtic all of a sudden came to life. Jota had a couple of efforts as well. But slowly but surely, Rangers just began to get back into the game, and the equaliser down to Ryan Kent. I know he's got a lot of critics, he's not really been in the game, but his determination to get to the ball in the wide areas, and being bumped around by a couple of defenders, he slid to keep the ball in. The ball was only half clear to the edge of the box. Tillman fouled, and what a free kick by James Tavernier. Absolute brilliance. Thoroughly enjoyed the game. One each is, I think, a fair result in the second half, all to play for.
Yeah, it's all set up nicely for what should be another fantastic 45 minutes of football. But a half-time score here at Celtic Park is Celtic 1, Rangers 1.
Incredible first half of football. I mean, Fraser Wisher, over the balance is 1-1. Is that fair before we get stuck into the big talking points?
Yeah, I think it is, Gordon. You know, Rangers pressing the game, and it's not always worked, but when it has, they've really harassed Celtic in the midfield area in particular, and forced them into mistakes as well. And although Celtic have had more chances, more shots at goal, McGregor with more saves, I think over the piece Rangers will be happy. I think it's a fair result and all to play for. There's a bit of confidence about Rangers, you know, Cantwell, Tillman, there's a bit of life about them as well. Morelos is doing well and annoying the two centre backs as well. Raskins looked excellent and confident in midfield, so lot there for Rangers. But Celtic just have that quality, you know, and you're always thinking that they've got that ability to cut Rangers open at times, because when they do turn it on, Celtic, of course, they've got these attacking players. But so far, I think Celtic haven't quite been at their fluent best, and I think a lot of that's down to the way Rangers have played.
In terms of talking points, Fraser, what did you make of the goal Rangers had ruled out? Social media is awash with arguments. Rangers fans are absolutely convinced that was harsh on Alfredo Morelos. What was your take on it?
It's really difficult. I haven't actually seen it back. We've only seen it in real time as well, and it didn't seem to be a lot in it other than the two of them pushing and shoving. We actually thought here that Alistair Johnston got the final touch on the ball, so I haven't seen it yet, but I do know there's been a lot of chat that it was harsh. It's maybe one of these ones where the VAR referee, if he'd not given not given the free kick, he wouldn't have overturned it and disallowed the free kick. One of those 50-50 decisions, but hard to judge, Gordon. But at that point, Rangers were playing really well, and if they got that opening goal, I think it would have been a problem for Celtic to come back. So I can't really comment too much on it. But Morelos has been good. He's been up front on his own, but he's held the ball up, he's knocked into the defenders, made it very difficult for them. And when he's doing that, Tillman and Cantwell can then get into position to play.
You three, you've had a chance to see it, of course. You were all pretty sure at the time you thought it was a push by Morelos.
I'm sticking by my guns. I think we can all argue that the two of them had a hold of each other, but just at that vital moment, as the ball's coming, he puts his two hands on him. I think if it's up the other end, 60,000 Celtic fans are screaming the same.
Is that not always? Is it not just? It's kind of par for the course in the box, and there is a lot of contact. Is that enough there to rule that goal? I
think the two of them pulling, they're getting away with that, Gordon. But as they come away from each other, Morelos just pushes Johnston in the forward motion, I think, with the two hands, and I think that's where he's get penalised. So for me, as much as the guys are saying it's a bit harsh, and yes, if I was a striker I would love to have taken that myself, but I think it was the right call.
Yeah, I'm the same. I mean, I just can't see how it isn't a foul. I've seen Morelos doing it quite a lot. Two hands,
well,
when
again, is that not why, you know, if a defender like Alistair Johnston, you know, you expect him to kind of hold on and get tight. Do you expect strikers to give it that bit and to get free?
Well, they're entitled to, but they can only do it within the constraints of the law, and you can't just put two hands on somebody's back and push them and say, oh well, it's a contact sport. I thought he did. I mean, maybe I'm watching something different, but I thought I clearly saw two hands go on him. Now Alistair Johnson, remembers, is concentrating on the ball. He's forward moving, so it is a lot easier for him then to go over because his momentum's taking him. Nevertheless, it's still a push.
We all become specialists of one kind or another when these things occur, but for me, the way Johnson went down, it was as if he had been pushed with enough force to lose his balance altogether. So I would not quibble with the decision to call it off.
Fraser, were you trying to come back in there? Sorry.
Yeah, I would just, as you were talking there, I've actually watched it on social media. I would disagree with the guys. I think that's a wee bit harsh on Morelos. There's pushing and shoving. They both get hands on each other, and if I was Rangers, I'd be very disappointed. And I think if it was the other end, Celtic fans would be disappointed if that was given against their team. For me, the two of them are at it, and yeah, there's a wee bit of contact towards the end, but not enough for me. I think that's a goal.
Well, we can argue about that for the next 6 weeks. Strap yourselves in. It's 1-1. It's a level game. Celtic 1, Rangers 1, and the second half is next.
The team with the biggest support in Glasgow and the West. This is Clyde 1 Super Scoreboard.
Celtic 1, Rangers 1 at the break. Fraser Wishart's alongside Andrew McLean in the stadium, and there was always going to be a bit of intrigue attached to this one, Fraser, because of the ticket allocation situation. Are we talking complete silence when James Tavernier's free kick hits the back of the net?
Yeah, complete silence. And James Tavernier and the Rangers players ran over towards the main stand and celebrated in front of the supporters. But you've got nowhere to go when you score a goal, especially if you're Tavernier and you've scored such a magnificent free kick in a game like this. You want to go and celebrate, and he did celebrate, and quite rightly so. But it was complete silence, and I think you guys were talking about it. And I was saying before the game, it's a kind of party atmosphere, and Celtic go ahead, and they threatened to go 2 or 3 ahead. The real spell where Rangers were rocking, and if they had gone 2 ahead, you could just the whole atmosphere would have changed. But now, all to play for, and I think Michael Beale will be really happy with his team's performance. You know, they've been up for it, they've pressed, and although they haven't tested Joe Hart as often as they should have done, when you're managing your coach, you're looking at it, they've almost got there. You know, they've been threatening the final ball maybe, or a really good challenge by a Celtic player has stopped the move in its tracks. But Morelos has been good up front, holding the ball up. Tillman and Cantwell have been excellent as well at times, and their energy in defensive duties as well. You know, they've got back and they've done their bit. So all in all, good for Rangers. But yeah, sometimes you just think Celtic not at their best. And that's why it's been an intriguing game, because your Rangers up for it, but Celtic, when they get the ball, there's a kind of, you're on the edge of your seat, and the fans are on the edge of their seat, because you know they've got the players that can go and cut Rangers open. So I've really enjoyed it as a 90 minutes, perhaps not full of clear-cut chances, but as a spectacle to watch, and the effort of the players on both sides. There's been a wee edge to it without it going over the top. 5 bookings, so you're always run the risk of a second booking and a red card. But it's not been dirty, but it's been a wee physical edge to it as well. So all round, thoroughly enjoyed the game so far.
So is that the key then for Celtic, to sort of just fine-tune the things that they usually do, but for Michael Beale maybe looking to add something that, despite the fact that they're level, they still maybe lacked an attacking cutting edge, didn't they? The set piece is great, like you're allowed to score from wherever, and even the Morelos one, it was a set piece. In terms of sort of chance creation, would that be the next step for Rangers?
Yeah, I think so, Gordon, but I don't think he'll change anything just now, because Cantwell and Tillman have been good. It just hasn't quite broken for them in that sense as well. But from a Celtic point of view, you talk about Aaron Moy, and Gordon and Mark and myself as players, we've been there, and you wonder whether Turnbull might get a wee chance to come on as well. And when they get O'Reilly in certain areas, once or twice he's looked really dangerous and created the goal. But all in all, there's not really been as much of an attacking threat from Celtic as they usually have. Usually they're all over teams. But again, they got into that same area. When you think back to the cup final recently, it's a cross from Taylor on the left and a cross from Hatate from a similar position to O'Reilly's. They get into that area behind Tavernier, and in this case it's Suter, but it was Goldson as well. They look to get into these sort of inside right, inside left position to get to the byline, and they've done it time and time again. So when it does click, it's a real problem. But I do think there's all to play for. It's really, really difficult to call a winner here, because Rangers are getting a performance from their players.
Andrew McLean, teams are coming back out. Celtic first, I think. Any changes at the break?
No, both, every single outfield player that is on the bench for both sides was out warming up there at half time, so there will be no changes for Celtic, certainly, as they make their way out, and I wouldn't expect there to be any changes for Rangers either. But I think the players will have been happy maybe to just get in at half-time, Fraser, because it was a breathless opening 45 minutes.
Totally. I mean, they're both two committed teams, and the effort physically from them both, I think they've been quite happy to get in and just get a break as well. And I think Ange Postecoglou standing at the side once or twice was just shaking his head because of that slack play from some of his players. They're passing. There was one when Alistair Johnson has been excellent against Kent. Took a free kick on the right hand side, tried to switch it to left, and nearly went out the park. And so just a wee bit of slackness from Celtic. So Postecoglou will be happy to get his team in and actually just give them a wee bit of a shake. I think that's what Celtic need. But from a Beale perspective, I think he'll be lifting his players. He'll be telling how well they've played in his eyes and how well they've done. Just that wee final ball. There's some good defending by Celtic. Maybe it's a slack final ball, but Rangers have looked after it, although they haven't tested Joe Hart.
You could probably hear from the booze there. That is the Rangers team making their way out the tunnel. There won't be any changes for them either. We were just talking during the break there about the fact there's been 5 yellow cards in this game already. You look back to the 2-2 game at Ibrox, it took until the 93rd minute for there to be a yellow card. There is a real bit of needle about this game. You saw that between Nicholas Raskin and Callum McGregor, who doesn't often get involved in that type of thing as well.
Yeah, that was the one incident where it was a kind of a set two between the two players, but other than that it's been bookings for tackles, and I think that's because both teams are really up for it. I don't think there's been anything over the top, Andrew. I think they've been yellow cards and the referee's probably got his decisions right, but it's just been because both teams are going at it physically. So a really good second half to look forward to now.
We are back underway for the second half.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard. Goal flashes with Clyde Built Windows and Doors. Buy now, pay nothing till 2024.
And just like that, Hugh Keevins were 45 minutes away from, in most people's mind, Celtic either absolutely winning the league or Rangers giving themselves a glimmer of hope.
It's tightrope time, and there is no safety net beneath either side. I think it's as it was at 12:30. They're a goal apiece. They've both had their moments in the game. There's always the subplot. Matt O'Reilly makes a goal at one end and creates the free kick that concedes a goal at the other end. So it's fascinating, and I don't think that from this distance you can say with any certainty how this game will end.
It'll be interesting to see if what's at stake does play a part, Gordon. I think Hugh's analogy is referring to specifically this 90 minutes, but Rangers need to win this game and Celtic don't. Ange Postecoglou will want to, for sure, and not all this stuff about you won't want to feel that Michael Beale can keep getting points out of these games and all that stuff and professional pride. Oh, I get it, but Rangers need to win it, Celtic don't. That remains almost a fact, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's massive for Rangers this afternoon to
corner
show
Celtic early on,
especially to show Celtic over the next couple of weeks in the fact of the semi-final, Scottish Cup semi-final as well. You don't want to continually being beaten with Celtic. You want to get into a game full of confidence, saying, listen, we went to your own back garden and we come out and we won, so we're ready to take you on at Hampden in the semi-final now. Whereas Celtic will just be looking to cement their authority in this game, in this fixture.
Corner Celtic, really well defended by Rangers. Everyone seemed to be in the right area, and Alfredo Morelos wins it before going up and barging over Aaron Moy, who brings him down, and he's going to be booked. Aaron Moy, Mark, first of all, he might feel that he was fouled by Morelos in the back, but it's still very ponderous from him.
He is. He's slow in possession.
It's a blatant booking.
Now he pulls Morelos down with the feet. Maybe have an argument that Morelos barged him in the back there. But again, has to be much stronger. Has to be much more aware that Morelos is coming after him. And it's a booking. So
all three of Celtic's midfielders in the book now.
Yeah, I think Morelos wins that perfectly well, Gordon. I think he's entitled to go and be strong and win that ball. I think it's just the afternoon Aaron Moy's having. And Fraser quite rightly pointed out, we've all been there, we've all been in the boots. He's just having one of those afternoons. I think he'll get another 10-15 minutes, and then they might just look at shaking that up in the middle of the park.
You know what, I know Ange Postecoglou usually gets these things right, but why give him another 10-15 minutes when I know he's just come out for the second half there, but he's already picked up a booting and gave the ball away, gave possession away within a couple of minutes. So nothing's changed. If anything, it's got worse in a couple of minutes. I'd be inclined to make the change soon. He's just not having a good afternoon, and you can't wait in these games.
Greg Taylor might go in the book now as well. He's pulled the arm of Malik Tillman.
That's a free kick. That's a free kick, and to me that's a booking.
For me, this illustrates that
Celtic,
Celtic are rattled a bit here. You needed a positive start to the second half, and so far
and yet though, from kick-off, it's Celtic that go forward, force the corner kick. It shows you how these sort of one moments can have a big impact.
Well, now we have Rangers with a free kick which they'll put into the box and see who's doing what here defensively and offensively.
Yep, Borna Barisic, you suspect he's over on this right hand side, so it'll be an in-swinger probably, although James Tavernier might deliver it with a different trajectory. It's something off the training ground that doesn't work. Daisen Maeda clears it away. They tried to go in a neat sort of triangle into Cantwell and then slip down the line.
See that? I don't mind that, right? But
Maeda read it, didn't he?
Yeah, but
was that obvious?
You've come out after half time. You've got a little opportunity to put a bit of pressure on. For me, put that in the box early. See if they get the next one, then try it. But I think that the timing was wrong there for that.
They look really positive, Rangers. They look as if the goal from Tavernier has just changed everything about them and about the game. And Celtic, I repeat, look a bit rattled at the minute.
Well, it's funny, Mark, you think back to the Ibrox game. Celtic were 1-up at half time. Ryan Kent scored in the 47th minute, was it? And that really flipped the game on its head. And if anything, Celtic were, in terms of balance of play, they were further ahead early on in that game than they are today. So maybe we've there's a chance here. Joe Hart makes the save. It just fell to Morelos. Celtic got themselves in a bit of trouble. It fell to Morelos. He gets maybe not the contact he was looking for, and it's parried away for a corner.
It's a big chance, and it's an easy header away from Johnson. Gets it all wrong off Carter Vickers, just falls to Morelos. I don't think he catches it particularly well.
Comes at him quickly, but should he do better?
100%. See if you're a top class striker, put that in the back of your net. That for me, Morelos will be really disappointed now. He should score that. He's got the quality to score that. He should score that.
Celtic looking uncertain at the start of the second half. 50 on the clock. It's 1-1. James Tavernier is going to cross it, and you can almost sense that the Rangers feel that as well, because there's Tillman, Morelos, Jack and some others right on top of Joe Hart, right inside that 6-yard box, and then a couple more waiting to arrive as well.
Is it the fact that
it's a great ball as well, and Morelos' header hits someone.
Shooter, I think it is it?
That's
how he's
gets
on
a
player.
Clean header, and there's someone on the line. I think you might be right. It is. It's Jack, Ryan Jack, and Greg Taylor grappling in there, but it comes off Jack clean, right in front of the goals. Let off for Celtic these last couple of minutes.
Yeah, Rangers.
And here they come again.
I think it's a goal at half time that's given Rangers such a lift.
Another free kick to Rangers, Alistair Johnson this time.
I think that was a soft one, but he's given it anyway, Kevin Clancy. So Celtic are under incredible pressure.
When you
That's
see it
a free
back,
kick.
Doesn't get the ball.
Free kick.
I was with you initially, Hugh, so it just looked like
Tavernier have a go from here. Is it just too far?
No chance.
If I've put one in and off the bar for 25 yards,
that's a 3-wood into the wind, mate.
I'm hitting this again.
No chance he's scoring for there.
What's this, about 35 on the angle?
Are you kidding me on?
I'd go for it. But me and you were different levels, so that's the thing. Different mentality.
Well, you have a look. No wonder you were in different mentality.
I would bounce it right in front of Joe Hart.
Absolutely no chance.
He's shaped it to the back post, but it does work for Rangers to an extent. Celtic aren't fully clear, and then it hits the side netting from Todd Cantwell.
Celtic are all over the place. They don't know what's hit them at the start of this second half. And the way that Rangers are going about their business, they know that there's a win on for them here. That
would worry me a little bit. Set plays.
Suter on Maeda.
Maeda at the back post with Suter. If I was looking at that, I'd be thinking, I'll have a wee fancy at that and put the ball up there and try and Suter win it and then go off to the second ball there. That's a bit worrying for Celtic.
Rangers pressing them well at the start of the second half. Even from the goal kick there, Joe Hart's no other option but to go long. So Beale's game plan working. Celtic, too many of their big players who deliver week in week out are way off it this afternoon.
I don't mean to present this wrong, because I don't think there's any chance Ange Postecoglou's happy with this, right? So that's not what I'm suggesting. But is there a roundabout way, Gordon, that Celtic might still feel like this creates a bit of space for them to go and catch? If that only works if Rangers don't punish you, of course.
Yeah.
But if Rangers continue this sort of territory to try and and catch them on the break.
That is very much a danger when you play against the Celtic team with the quality, the pace, and the ability they've got, especially up front. You can get carried away thinking, yeah, we've got off to a great start, we're on the front foot, Celtic Park, give a sloppy pass away, and all of a sudden you're
and
in
here
trouble.
we are, it's Jota, and he just crosses. I'm not sure it was the right option. It does get to Maeda in the box, and it's hacked away. Did Jota need to pick that?
I think he was actually trying to pick out a Riley, and he'd maybe just got it wrong there. But just goes to show you what Daz is saying there. Super sloppy pass, and Kyogo's on the turn. They're at him right away.
Look, all week, what will the atmosphere be like? What will it do? How will it impact this team or that team? Well, Fraser's telling us Celtic fans are now getting a bit frustrated, Hugh, with the team and with the referee. So
I've said all along that the home side are under pressure. If there's no away fans, and that the party the fans held before kick-off was premature, and Celtic, as Mark said, too many big players off it today, and at the moment they are anything but certainties.
And we did say it was game dependent, Mark. It's good if you're on top, basically. That is it in a nutshell. And it might help if you're sort of throwing caution to the wind late on to try and get into something. But generally speaking, Kyogo took a sore one from Ben Davies in the face. To be fair, it did look completely accidental, Gordon, didn't it? Didn't look like Davies had any idea where he was.
Gordon, I apologise, I did not see that behind you there.
Mark, you saw it.
Yeah, but what I would say is Davies is running, he turns to run, he does extend his arm. Now I don't think he's aiming for Kyogo, but no doubt Kyogo takes it in the face, and then Kyogo retaliates by trying to get close to Ben Davies. I don't think he's got it in him, has he, Kyogo?
I'm going to show you.
I don't think he's got it in him.
No. Then he'd probably pat him. Apologise.
I know, help him up. But you're right about the crowd. Look, I mentioned Thursday, I've played at Celtic Park where things aren't going right, and it's a difficult environment sometimes when you know you're off it, and the fans have every right to tell you when you're off it, and it makes it harder
because it's so reactive, isn't it? You can have these best laid plans going up to the game, Gordon, as a Celtic fan, thinking this is great, there's no away fans, so we'll just stay right behind the team for 90 minutes and we can be the difference. But you know, you're reacting to what's going on in front of you. It's a highly emotive experience being a football fan.
As a Celtic fan in Celtic Park just now, you had that excitement. You're thinking half time, people are away getting their pies and Bovrils 1-0. All of a sudden they hear the silence, not the roar. One each. Rangers come out in second half.
Hear the silence?
Well, yeah,
I know
if you know what I mean. And then they come out one each. They're on the front foot, asking a few questions. Fans get frustrated, of course they do. And all of a sudden that relays down to the pitch, as Mark quite rightly says. The players have got to take that on board. Now, people say Celtic haven't been at their best. Of course they've not this afternoon. I think that's down to the pressing and the tactics so far of Rangers. I think Rangers take a lot of credit, but they've got to be careful because Celtic can pick them off at any time.
Yeah, Aaron Moy just tries to float one over the top. It is cut out. Callum McGregor has been involved in everything, hasn't he, Mark? He's had a good game. He's walked a disciplinary tightrope at times, but he just looks measured, ahead
composed,
above his midfield counterparts, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's been excellent. And the other two, chance here.
Yeah, it's crowded penalty box, but and somehow an unbelievable clearance off the line. I think the whistle had gone anyway. But Celtic Park almost anticipating the net bulging. And was it Barisic off the line? I think the free kick had gone, but it would have been interesting to see if that decision stood anyway, because I'm not sure what was actually, who's that? Is it
offside, Jota?
Is that Jota offside from O'Reilly's?
Yeah, Jota offside.
I'll tell you what though, the goal line stop from Barisic is brilliant, Mark Wilson.
Tremendous, gets himself right in the middle of the goal. And to be fair, who's it faulty? Kyogo. Yeah, it's a great block. But
Kyogo's going all that was offside.
What a call that was from the assistant referee, because that's very, very tight. Right decision, very tight to call Jota off.
Wow.
Game's starting to open up a bit for me.
Well, we said that,
anybody's game now.
How does it come into the mindset for you, Hugh, that Rangers need to win it, or is that just us on the outside that thinks that impacts the game?
I think Rangers will come here and it's a display of bravery, not a fan in the place.
No, I mean from now on, because they need, as we said before, they need to win it, and Celtic don't.
I think Michael Beale will be telling them that this win could be highly significant, and they'll be going for it big time.
Aaron Moy just trying to track Malik Tillman, knows he can't pull him anymore because he's on that yellow card.
There's a fine line there you're talking, Gordon. I totally understand. See, for the league, big points. I still think Celtic will win the league. But if Rangers go out there with another draw,
it's another sort of step in the right direction.
Exactly. Well, I think Rangers would take that as a positive as well, get into the next few games. But this is
Jota.
where the problem is.
That is great from Jota. I think Kyogo might be offside here as he's been slipped in. And in the end, Celtic wasted it.
Well.
The flag goes up.
He timed it well as well, but what an opportunity there.
Brilliant from Jota. Set Maeda clear again. Mark, does he have to force that pass to Kyogo?
I thought he could have kept going, to be honest.
He's running at Ben Davies with no disrespect.
Tell you what, I told you, timed it well.
Kyogo might have been on.
Yep.
And listen, VAR doesn't kick in because Kyogo wastes the pass anyway.
Well, that's the thing. Once Kyogo gets onside, a bit rushed again, try to see the pass across.
See the thing there for me, Mark. See if I was Postecoglou, I'd be saying to Kyogo, don't make that run. Leave Maeda 1-on-1 with Ben Davis, because he's got grass in behind. He would have caused them all sorts of problems. Ben Davis would delighted he made that pass. Absolutely delighted.
To go back to the point about how Michael Beale feels, I think Michael Beale is already thinking to win, then it would be true what Gordon said earlier on. You would hear the silence.
Yeah.
It would be such a silence you'd actually hear it. And it would have an amazing effect on the entire club. And there is a semi-final to be played, and there is a league match at Ibrox to be played, and I think they are capable of winning this match.
Celtic are now showing signs though, aren't they, Mark?
Yeah, they're finding gaps
in the box again. Jota, but he's dragged it wide of the post. Celtic are starting to motor a tiny bit.
Well, their passing's getting much better, their movement, they're finding gaps. That pass from Moy into Jota, you've seen him so many times do so much better. It's a poor attempt.
I wonder if it will be the last action for Aaron Moy, because Iwata has been called over. It could be Matt O'Reilly.
I'd be shocked if it was anybody else.
You'd have to imagine it's not been a vintage afternoon for the Australian.
Look, we've said his name a lot of times this afternoon, but he's a terrific footballer. He's had a Wilson. Well, let's just call it that. He's had a Wilson or a Wisher.
Callum McGregor confused how he gave away Tillman. He almost stood his ground and Tillman nicked it round him.
Here's the thing, that puts Callum McGregor in an interesting position, because it's another foul closer to a second booking, but at the same time there's not a lot in that. Certainly never getting booked for that,
but those stick in the referee's mind.
Aaron Moy off, Tomoki Iwata on.
That's as tough as 60 minutes as you're likely to see from a player.
He won't be watching that one back.
No. And he's a terrific player. He's been brilliant since the World Cup for Celtic, but just not his afternoon.
It's been a strange one, Hugh, because you get howlers of different shapes and sizes. Aaron Moy hasn't cost a goal or missed a sitter or done anything ludicrous that impacts the direct balance of the game, but he's just not managed to do much right either.
No, and every one of us have had that bad day at the office. And we don't have to do it in front of 60,000 people. He just hasn't played well, and the manager, I think, is looking at this last half hour of the game, and Ange Postecoglou knows, as well as every Celtic supporter inside that ground, this is far from finished, and Rangers could very easily win this.
It is Celtic doing most of the attacking at the moment though, and there's another ball down the side of the box. And Ben Davies doesn't clear it, and it's in the back of the net.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvement.
And it's that man Kyogo again. A double in the League Cup final, a double in the East End Sunshine this afternoon, and Celtic do lead. There was a ball that just spun up in the box. Ben Davies was favourite to head it. He makes a mess of it and it falls to Kyogo. He dispatches the finish, and it's Celtic 2, Rangers 1.
Well, Celtic cannot go in front twice in the same game at Celtic Park in front of 60,000 of their own fans and no Rangers supporters and not win this match. They now have the league within their grasp, and it would be extremely clumsy if they were to drop it.
We always try first positive. The goal getter, Gordon, 28 for the season, as it remind me from the update earlier. Through the legs of McGregor, he's just red hot.
Alive, sharp, confident, waiting for that mistake, never gives up on it, never thinks that, Ben Davies is dealing with, always on his toes. Everything you've taught since you were a young kid to be a striker, he came alive at the right time.
Mark,
I think that's a brilliant finish, because he's on the angle. I think he knows exactly what he's doing there. When McGregor spreads himself, keeps it low, in between his legs, and Daz is right, he's alert. Jota plays a part as well, because he doesn't give up on the ball that spins in the air. And what he does is he just stands his ground. He makes it awkward for Davies, and Davies has an absolute howler there.
Well, we were talking before the kick-off and talking about John Souttar, and he's not played a lot of football. Big game to come in. We know he's got ability. The absence of Golson, he's been terrific for Rangers throughout the years. Ben Davies to me today has been dreadful as a defender. I really, and I'm not taking anything away from Celtic's goals, but defending wise, you go to Celtic Park, you've got to stand up, be counted in these big games. You've got to be stronger, you've got to deal with things like that. That's what you come with, a big reputation. His defensive play today has been shocking.
I'm not even sure what he's trying to do there, because it's in the air. Jota's not attempting to jump with him. He's facing the corner flag. He should head it clear. I don't know if he's trying to be clever.
No, it looks like he just tries
head
to
it down.
He looks like he tries to head it, but just somehow misses the ball
Well,
entirely.
he heads it off. Does he not head it off Jota? But either way, he should have dealt with it. But
Yeah, no, that's what I mean when I say misses it entirely. Gets the tiniest nick on it.
yeah.
But see the problem, Mark, see if you just take it back a little bit, and Rangers will look at this. Raskin drops O'Reilly, and when the ball goes into O'Reilly, they're in trouble. They're in trouble right away. I know Davis makes a mistake, but Raskin has got to cover O'Reilly. O'Reilly breaks the lines with him and causes him problems.
Okay,
What about McGregor here? McGregor, the Celtic captain, he's trying to get the crowd to make even more noise.
Chance Kyogo on the hat-trick. Good defending this time from Ben Davies. Corner Celtic.
McGregor running around like a man possessed now. He's
had a great
showing,
game, hasn't he?
Showing complete disregard for the fact that he's on a booking and needs to be careful. He is getting about everyone, everywhere, getting the crowd going. He is trying to. He knows how big a moment this
I'm
is.
surprised at this. I think that Kyogo lets him off here.
It's just there's a little stutter before he pulls the trigger, isn't there?
I think that I was just waiting for him to hit the back of the net with that. I think that little stutter gives Davis the time to get that vital tackle in.
Oh, it's a great challenge from Celtic. I can't quite see who it is. Matt
O'Reilly
O'Reilly wraps his leg round and wins the ball back. Mark, we said Rangers had rattled Celtic in the very early minutes of the second half, but then in a sense the goal had been coming.
Yeah, I would say so, because we were just chatting about it. Celtic were finding gaps. Their passing had just started to improve, created a few chances, and then they get the goal at a crucial time. And now they look well on top again. Look like they're favourites to add to it.
James Tavernier eventually defending well under pressure from Greg Taylor. Todd Cantwell's taken a sore one. Didn't necessarily see what happened there. I think there was maybe some sort of collision, because I think there was a bit of a crossover from Celtic. Yeah, he just runs into Greg Taylor. I don't think Greg Taylor does anything wrong, Gordon, unless I'm missing something.
No, I didn't see anything
He's
there.
up.
I don't think Cantwell's complaining.
Okay, what do Rangers do here? Is it Fashion Sakala time? Because barring that first 5 minutes of the second half, they have dropped out it since.
See, I know the thinking going behind Bale, and we can talk about, well, at 1-1 in second half. Sakala's a big player for him in these games. He's caused Celtic problems before. In the last few games leading up to this game, I thought that it was a big decision to leave him out, because he'd create it, he'd scored goals, but he decided to go with Tillman and Cantwell. Yeah, I think he'll look at this situation now, bit of pace, Sakala to try and take Rangers forward and get back into this game with an equaliser.
You know what, Tavernier just Maeda fouls. Is it Jack? Jack just gives him a wee nudge here, falls over Tillman. But Maeda getting back there to Tillman, you know exactly what's needed at this point, just to blunt the attack from Rangers. Now get a set piece, but it's a long way out to
Do you
swing
think
in.
he'll try for that? I would.
You're just 60 yards out this time. Right in the touchline. We shall not be moved, ringing out from the Celtic fans, who are feeling a lot better about themselves than they were maybe 10-15 minutes ago. Still a long way to go in this one, as Raskin is forced all the way back to Alan McGregor. and never any real danger as the offside flag goes up. So it's now McGregor and Iwata sort of sitting, Gordon. So actually Celtic protecting a bit, and O'Reilly in front of them, according to Fraser Wishart. But saying that, try keeping Callum McGregor anywhere.
Yeah. They're just going to protect it and just go and play, and they'll know that Rangers are going to try and come the front foot and put people forward.
Sakala's on for Tillman for Rangers, so there we are. I just wonder, Mark, how impressive is that from Celtic, and how disappointing from Rangers? When that ball gets rolled back to Alan McGregor, he launches it long, Celtic step up so quick, and I think there were 4 Rangers players offside.
Yeah, it's one of the unseen qualities that Celtic have. You know, that speed at the back line, pushing the midfield line up. Even though we're all watching Kyogo and the front players pressing McGregor, it's what's going on behind as well that we don't often talk about. Terrific from Celtic, because if they stay in, Cantwell takes that down and you're under the cosh again. So very important.
Another corner, is it, to Celtic? It is indeed. It's going to be Jota just to try and whip it into a dangerous area. Morelos has done really well in that. Go on, Mark, what's the technical term?
Defensive role?
No, it's bound to be some sort of zonal.
Middle of the six.
Middle of the six.
He's just standing there, and he's headed away, maybe 2 or 3 now, right on his head. The money, yeah, and clear that away. If you're from a Celtic point of view,
you mix it up a bit.
You'd maybe think I'd mix it up, put it maybe one to the front post area where most of the players are running. So set pieces have been disappointing so far from Celtic.
Celtic have got their tails up, Hugh, though. You know, goals do that. Happened to Rangers, and it can happen in any game, but in particular one like this.
Yeah, it's a fascinating game because it's swung backwards and forwards, and you know, who could rule out anything happening here? Because Rangers were completely out of it first half, and then arguably goal of the season from Tavernier. Celtic looked out of it at the start of the second half, and then marvellous Predators goal from Kyogo, and now, you know, Celtic look as if they're really wound up for this, but you can rule nothing out.
He doesn't always do brilliantly on the ball, Mark Wilson, but
I know who you're going to say.
Honestly, the
3 engines
the
he's
thought
went through.
of playing against Maeda must just
the
thought of it must tire you out.
As Barisic thinks he's passed him there with the ball, and he's running, galloping into space, and all of a sudden Maeda on his heels gives away the foul.
Well, I've noticed that they've swapped wings.
Yeah, I was going to say
Jota's come over to the left, Maeda to the right. He's work rate. You're right, Gordon. His quality on the ball sometimes is questionable, but his work rate is terrific.
Celtic thought they had, and I was going to say Rangers get away with one. It might well have come off Jota's arm, but it's a bit of good fortune if it does, because he just slides in. Oh, by the way, it doesn't either.
No,
it's off his
no,
chest.
Straight off his chest.
Yeah.
Oh, and Celtic had won the ball back and were breaking. Jota sort of slid in and it spun up, hit him in the chest. Tavernier appealed for a hand and Kevin Clancy agreed. He's managing to do, well, I suppose what always happens in these days, annoying both sets of fans.
It was never a handball. Let's be honest about it. He got that completely wrong. Gives Rangers a chance to ask a question, put the ball in there.
Didn't strike you as one he had to give, Mark, you know, even if it did strike
He has to be entirely sure, otherwise his assistant has to help him out there. I didn't see anything from both of them. He couldn't have been sure that hit his hand. Clearly didn't.
Rangers need to see something more in an attacking sense, Gordon. It seems like it's been a while, and this is not to take anything away, because you know they created it, but even the Morelos sniffs at the start of this half, it all came a bit more from kind of balls into the box, you know, and Celtic not dealing with them.
Yeah, the game just looks like now it's getting a bit stretched. Players are getting more time, more space. I think that suits Celtic, if I'm going to be honest with you. As you see, Celtic coming forward again here, but Rangers at 2-1, they know they're still in it, because it could be another free kick, it could be another set play, it could be anything at all, a mistake like Rangers have made one with Davis and they get punished with Kyogo. But
Alistair Johnson just strides away for fun, but it was a hopeful ball into the box. I think Maeda had about 4 Rangers players for company. But Johnson's some athlete, isn't he?
It's amazing how well he has settled into Scottish football and into this particular fixture.
It's a long time since Celtic had one of them back athletes that could go
10
up there,
years,
play,
10, 11 years since
could actually deliver, tackle, play, pace.
But we're in this.
It's not easy. It's not easy.
It's a terrible back pass from John Suter, and Jota's round Alan McGregor.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
And Rangers' central defensive pairing has been their undoing in this second half. It's a poor back pass from John Souttar. Jota nipped in, round Alan McGregor, and only one outcome after that. It's Celtic 3, Rangers 1.
Threaded the ball through the eye of a needle there to put it into the goal. For me, that's game over. You couldn't possibly imagine Rangers being able to score 2 for a draw, far less 3 for a win. Celtic, while not having a brilliant day, have got the job done here, and you have to say that Rangers will be kicking themselves because of the contribution they've made to Celtic's win.
Mark, we praised John Souttar for being the more composed of the two central defenders so far. It's only his first league start in 8 months, you know, so there's an element of sympathy there, but it's still a terrible mistake.
Yeah, of course. He just tries to play it first time. I don't even think he needs to play it first time and blind round the corner, but gets it all wrong. Credit to Jota though, reads it, quick onto it, good touch round McGregor, and finishes from a tight angle, but not one that John Souttar will want to remember.
I'm going to is O and Haksabanovic. Yeah.
Come on.
I agree, right? You can't take any away from the mistake, but I don't think he'll be too pleased. I think it was Ryan Jack
giving him the ball.
Yeah, in the minute that ball, well, if you watch the Celtic players, they trigger the press right away. Put John now.
Yeah, but you've
John
got to handle
Souttar,
it, don't you?
yes, I agree with that, Gordon. But it's a killer blow.
So
Absolutely
Celtic
killer blow.
mixing things up a bit here because O and Haksabanovic are on, but it's O'Reilly and Jota who are off. So somebody's dropping in somewhere, Mark Wilson.
Well,
Kyogo dropping in number 10
behind O and leave him up there. Yeah,
nice conservative change from Ange Postecoglou to shore this one up.
Exactly. He's wanting more goals, and that, by the way, you wouldn't bet against it. 15 minutes to go. Daz is right. The game was getting
excellent
stretched
from Greg Taylor. Not so excellent from Haksabanovic, you have to say. And Celtic have it back with Joe Hart.
It was like the second half, Celtic gave Rangers that encouragement to come forward. Rangers were doing well, and the problem with that is then it starts to develop the gaps where Celtic like to go and play their quick football. A couple of mistakes this afternoon. If Rangers looking back in this game, you look at the first goal, Kyogo's goal was brilliant. You look at the second, Davis got to do better as a defender. Third goal, Souttar got to do better as a defender.
You've got to look at how clinical you are though, and Celtic are clearly more clinical than Rangers. At the start of the second half, Morelos has a terrific chance that he's got to put away, and that puts a different perspective on the game. He has a header that's unfortunate that Jack's there, but they were on top. When you're on top, you need to take your chances. And Celtic have done that.
Tries a very ambitious pass to Maeda. Doesn't get it a million miles away, but it was always going to be tough because he's had to fire it at about 60 miles an hour through the gap, and it was always going to be tough. Is there an element of self-destruct from Rangers here, Gordon?
Yeah, but they've no choice, Gordon. They can't just sit there and say, right.
No, I mean up to this point.
Yeah,
have they shot themselves in the foot? Look, there's obvious credit for Celtic because Kyogo's sharp and he finishes the first one, and Jota has to be sharp to go round McGregor. So I get that, but at the same time,
I think Mark makes a great point. The big difference in this game is the minute Rangers make a mistake, Celtic are clinical. They just punish you. I totally agree, and I've been in the position as a centre forward. I still think Morelos sharp. You know, in these games, that's where you step up to the mark, get it in the back of the net. But the difference with Celtic is they do it. Kyogo, minute that ball lands to him, we're all thinking that's going to be 2-1. Jota, minute he gets onto that, round McGregor, side foots it in. That's the big difference that Celtic have got Rangers.
And to be fair, Mark, at the same time, you need to have territory for those mistakes to take place, because I can't really remember, what we're talking, 77 gone, so you're looking at least sort of, it's at least 25 minutes since Rangers have done anything in an attacking sense at all.
Yeah, and just seen a man there who's won this foul for Rangers, Ryan Kent. Could have forgotten he was playing this second half again.
You never know. Here's a set piece, and this really would change things to the back post. It's well dealt with by Iwata, and a corner to Rangers.
Yeah, never easy to defend those ones floated. I've been there before, the back man and the 7 across, and floated above you. The guys have got to run at your back. Manages just to flick it behind though for a corner. If Rangers want anything, obviously they need to get something in the next couple of minutes. Set piece might be their best chance.
Yeah, it could be. It's the most territory we've seen Rangers have at all, and it's a wicked delivery from James Tavernier. It's excellent from
Starfelt.
Carl Starfelt. That's a really good header.
I know
He's been good today.
I know
Starfelt.
Hugh's not his biggest fan. I think he's been excellent.
Yeah.
You know, he's everything he's been asked to do.
However, we've got another goal at Celtic Park.
Tavernier
Flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
And it's game on. Celtic 3, Rangers 2. James Tavernier yet again, this time in the left wing position, sneaks round the back, cross from Barisic, one full back to the other, and he heads it down and up into the roof of the net, and we have a game on our hands. Hugh Keevins.
You'd have to say it enters the realms of classic Old Firm games now. 5 goals, several bookings. Celtic thought they had it wrapped up, and they have 12 minutes of regulation time in which to make sure they don't mess it up.
100th goal for Rangers for James Tavernier.
Unbelievable.
That is incredible for a full back. And by the way, he takes it like a striker at the back post. A
great
terrific ball from Barisic. Great finish. And from a defensive point of view from Celtic, when you're coming out, I was praising him earlier, how they come out as a back four. Alistair Johnson's got to have a look about him. He's got to see that there's a man, you know, behind him in Tavernier, and he doesn't see him, gets dragged in, but nevertheless a good finish.
This is going to be interesting, Gordon, because there was only one team who looked like scoring there, and it was not Rangers.
This game's certainly could turn because Celtic were in cruise control. All of a sudden, Rangers
it goes just past the post, almost a
Tavernier
James
again.
Tavernier hat-trick.
Get him up front.
If a
Centre forward.
fullback scores a hat-trick against you, you better believe that defensively you're unsound.
I'll tell you what, he's on Greg Taylor. He must have fancied that.
I think Greg Taylor actually ends up.
Greg Taylor does alright, but Tavernier's got the run on him.
He's got to score there.
Yeah, that's what makes him favourite. I'll tell you, get back to the second goal, Mark. I think you're right. That goal is all about the header, all about the finish for Tavernier. That's taking like a centre forward in his prime. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
However, he's been robbed. Kevin Clancy doesn't give the free kick, but Celtic make a mess of it. Just dilly-dally, took the wrong option. And I don't know why he did that, Mark, but it's almost like Kyogo's running down the clock here. With 10 minutes to go,
playing for time,
and he's won a free kick down in the corner.
Well, quite an odd one. Tavernier, after almost scoring a hat-trick, gets robbed, but O's in a good position. He just takes too much time, and then Kyogo as the opposite. He's away to the corner flag when he actually receives the ball just outside the penalty area. So it's taken quite a turn this game. I was just chatting about Ange Postecoglou wanting more goals. I'm wondering if he's looking at this now and thinking, well,
I'll take 3-2
and move on.
I think we'll get another goal somewhere. I really do. I think it's get the makings of that game. Because Rangers will throw bodies forward. They've got to. Can they get something, or will Celtic hit them in the counter attack?
Yeah, Haksabanović's ball comes off the head.
Another corner
of Ryan Jack, I think.
No, it's a by kick. It's by kick.
Maybe just, to be fair, give the benefit of the doubt. Maybe we missed something.
It's hard to miss that. It's hard to miss that. That's came right off Ryan Jack's head.
It certainly looks like it, but that looks so obvious that even our officials should have got it. So I'm almost cutting some slack and thinking maybe we missed something. But anyway,
if you're 3-1 up and you're Celtic and you're playing in your ground with none of the away fans there, it's an embarrassment if you don't win it. So even a draw even a draw is an embarrassment. If Rangers were to get to 3-3, 10 minutes of regulation time to go,
and Celtic not anywhere near what they were prior to that goal. As we said, it went 3-1. There was a party atmosphere. They were very convincing at that point, and it looked like it could have been more. But
Let's
Rangers have scored, and it's changed things.
That has rattled Celtic, because Mark will tell you, and Fraser, you're playing a game, you're 3-1 up at home, you're in cruise control, you're thinking, we'll just see this out, it'll be a lovely day. All of a sudden the goal goes in and you start getting a bit twitchy, and I think Celtic are starting to get a little bit twitchy just now.
Yeah, but every time the ball comes in, I mean, they're just not convincing in terms of their defence. You know, they possibly got away with. Here they go again. They possibly got away with one in the first half with the clash between Morelos and Alistair Johnson. But you know, if you talk about Ben Davies' mistakes and Suter's mistakes, and they have led to goals, Celtic at the other end have been just unconvincing.
And that maybe is the point, Mark. I can understand why some Rangers fans would say, if it wasn't for those mistakes, or we've shot ourselves in the foot or whatever. But Celtic have actually had their own slack moments, but they haven't. They don't have the attacking players to punish the way that Celtic do when those mistakes come along.
Yeah, I would say so. And you think back to the start of the second half, Morelos, found himself in space in that back post area. Set pieces certainly haven't been a strong point for Celtic this afternoon. But there is a difference. That's why the goal difference.
Strange decision from Morelos to let the ball come across his body. It's a brilliant pass from Callum McGregor, and excellent defending from Ben Davies, who's had a bit of stick, but really good.
Well, I'll tell you what, I've given a bit of criticism, but I'll give him a compliment there. It's very good defending from David.
Turnbull is going to come on for Celtic as Nicholas Raskin gives the ball away.
If you're Rangers, you're looking for equaliser, it's on the bench, get him on.
Cholak.
Who? Super Scotty.
Arfield,
Not a bad shout from you. I see you're thinking.
There you are.
It's Alistair Johnson's turn to give it away. And here are Rangers, they're in the box. Is this going to be it? The equaliser? Morelos, it's very crowded, but Morelos and Kent are passing the ball between themselves in the penalty box as Ryan Jack joins in. He's going to give it out to Sakala, and Ryan Jack still loitering with intent there, but Alistair Johnson makes up for his earlier error, draws a foul, and away we go. No impact at all from Sakala yet, Gordon.
No, disappointing, but he's a threat with that pace. Alistair Johnson's had a ropey 20 minutes. Mark gave him a bit of criticism for his goal, the defending at the goal, and he's sort of rattled him a little bit, but he does well there. He sniffs out the danger.
I think that chance for Rangers there highlights the difference between the two sides. They've got 3v2 in the pass to Morelos isn't great, but then Morelos almost shuts responsibility and passes it back to Kent, so no cutting edge there.
Well, Kyogo was sort of in the midfield area anyway, wasn't he? So he comes off to be replaced by David Turnbull. stays up top.
Burnaby.
The fourth official, John Beaton's got the number wrong because he's said that number 4 is coming on, but of course Turnbull is 14 and Burnaby 4.
Oh, that is a very defensive. You were thinking maybe Taylor
sometimes plays. I feel like this has happened once.
Yeah, on the left side, it was at home.
Where he plays one up.
I like this boy. He's one for the future.
Like this boy,
he's one for. I said Scotty Arfield, no Scotty Wright. Oh my God, get that
Cholak as well. What? It's all changed.
It's all happening. Rangers going for it. Scott Wright and Antonio Cholak on.
Well, one thing I say about Burnaby, wonderful goal last week.
And John Lundstrom as well. Can't keep up here.
Who have they taken off?
Everybody.
They've kept everybody on. That's what I do.
That would be a not bad tactic.
I've done that. 12
Jack,
against 11.
Morelos and Cantwell off, Lundstrom, Cholak and Wright on. So Kyogo and Maeda were the ones off for Celtic, as we said, and it's Turnbull and Burnaby on.
Getting tense now.
No, it's fine.
I think it's more of a cuddle between Barisic and Haksabanovic in the end. Reminded me of those pictures you and I got taken, Mark Wilson.
Oh, they're lovely.
Here. Very close. Very close. I guess the argument would be for Rangers fans, 3-2 down with 4 or 5 minutes to go. Would you have kept Morelos on again and brought Cholak on for something? You need to go for it. You're losing the game anyway.
Well, Arfield represents going for it if Gordon Dalziel
not coming on. He'd have been on by now.
Scott Wright instead. So you can see that point about Morelos, can't you? But
I would have kept Morelos on the pitch. If you need a goal, you keep your best opportunity. Morelos is a better goal scorer than most of them on the pitch. You need a goal. Keep your best striker on the pitch. That's why I played 90 minutes all the time.
How have you managed to even make this game about you? This is the furthest removed thing.
Because they would think we're needing a bonus. Keep the Dazzler on.
Remarkable. Absolutely remarkable.
Leaving on happy.
But I'll tell you what, it's ending in a terrific way. All the substitutions, what's the thinking behind them? It's still not done yet. We'll forget 87 minutes in, it's still not done. We still feel there might be something, a sting in the tail.
Rangers need to threaten that goal more often, Mark. Give themselves a chance. They've of course taken opportunities very well today, but something a bit sustained in an attacking sense is what they've missed.
Well, they only had it for that 5-minute period just after half time, really, and then nothing else. They could be doing with something now to get back in the game. But again, that might just suit Celtic. The game being stretched, able to pick them off at the other end.
And it does show you, Gordon, just every now and then Celtic might stop because they were in no hurry to take that throw in there, which you very rarely see from them. Kevin Clancy was telling them to hurry up.
Like a part of management is winning football games no matter what. Can't be attacking all the time. I think with the fact that the substitution, Kyogo off, yes, we've seen that before. Bernabe on to shoulder up down the left hand side as well. He's quite right. Celtic have got this 3 points. They've got the game.
Celtic could be in here. And is it Bernabe? He's racing clear anyway.
What's he trying to do?
Oh my goodness, I've seen some strange decision making.
I've never seen anything like that before.
It's not ideal to be speechless on a speech radio show, but was it
what's
Bernabe?
happening? Well, Bernabe.
Who did you think it was?
Bernabe's on a terrific touch. I think it was he's clear.
He's through Alan McGregor and he squares it to. There's nobody there.
That's it.
Or was it David Turnbull? Why is it the camera's zooming in on David Turnbull?
Looked like Bernabe.
I was certain it was
Bernabe.
It was Bernabe.
Here you are, throw it into the mix now. 1 minute of regulation time to go. Rangers have the free kick. The sirens are wailing.
That was remarkable.
I've no idea
He
what
must,
he sees,
he must have
what
got
he
shout.
thinks.
He must have got shout.
From where?
I don't know. The
There's
Rangers
nobody
bench.
within 40 yards of him.
He's
through.
He must have got a shout for the Rangers
How well
bench.
does O do?
He does brilliant strength. He's through. He's on his favoured left foot.
That is unbelievable.
He's
from
thinking. He's thinking somebody's made the ground up.
There is no one within 30 yards of him.
I know. I'll tell you, Al McGregor comes out there, narrows the angle, but I think he's trying to square it to Joe Hart.
He's just scored one for 20 yards last week into the top corner. You would think on his left foot he would fancy it again. Put your laces through it. Make yourself a hero.
That was
amazing.
Celtic probably should have wrapped this one up, but only Alejandro Bernabe knows what was going on there.
I know,
are you going to back him then?
I think the Rangers dugout shouted square it.
One weekend he rifles one in from 25 yards to make sure that Celtic get the points at Ross County. Following weekend he passes it to the invisible man. 5 minutes added.
I hope, Mark, people don't misunderstand this. We're not talking that Bernabe gets to the byline and thinks that someone's joining him. He is through on goal. He can see the whites of Alan McGregor's eyes. He's central
on his left foot as well, and that's a big point, because if it's on his right and he's not confident, you think, okay, on his left.
Even if I've had somebody to square it to, I'd have still
you would have still shot.
Everyone would as well.
I would have as well. Aye, and that's saying something.
Anyway, Gordon, what's maybe got lost in it was the build-up play or the hold-up play from O to set Bernabe on his way. He's got someone really all over the top of him, but he just uses his strength and nips it round the corner. He did really well, didn't he?
He's impressed me so far of what he's shown, Gordon. He's had limited game time, obviously coming off the bench, and they're settling him into the club. I think he could be a real good player for Celtic next year.
Chance Rangers, and it goes a begging. I think the flag might be up anyway. Sakala's not looked that convincing since he came on.
Yeah, it was offside, Gordon.
And it's not one that will be brought back anyway because the ball doesn't end up in the net. It's great. Is that Nicholas Raskin?
He's off. He's lazy. That's lazy striker play for me. Get yourself. You see the full picture there. All he has to do is get himself a couple of extra yards. He still get the space to cause problems. That's lazy striker
5
play.
minutes added, and we've played 1.5 of them. This is going to be a fraught end.
But Rangers have a chance because I think defensively Celtic have been shabby.
You know what, Hugh, I need to disagree on that occasion there. I think that's good play from Celtic, squeezing the line, because if they stay on their 18-yard line, Rangers just lump the ball in, and they haven't been great at that. If you are pressing the game, what you do is you leave lazy strikers in, like Daz has just said. I think that's good defending on that occasion from Celtic.
Oh, again there, Gordon. He looks he's grown into the game. I said earlier, I look at guys with good ability. He's got everything in his locker. Settle into the club this year. I think he'll play a big part in Celtic going forward next season.
Haksabanovic is down. Took a sore one from Ryan Jack. Well, and it's going to be a free kick in normal time. And in normal times, Celtic would certainly try and attack here, but this.
You think they'll take it in the corner?
Well, they don't usually, but today that they're doing that sort of thing, which maybe tells you how close this is.
They want to give away possession now because this is the day when anything
Yeah.
can happen.
Tell you what's
Anything
happening
has
here,
happened.
because O has come over, so he is not crossing it. O is going to take this to the corner
I
flag
agree with it.
and wrestle.
I agree with it. All this, we go forward on it. Look, you've got to win the game. So you've got 3 minutes. Keep it up there, because Rangers can't score if you keep that in the corner. I think that's sensible play with Celtic.
McGregor's now delegating. Bernaby. Well,
Rangers try to catch him offside.
Oh my goodness,
No, he's
the
not
flag is-
offside.
What is Turnbull thinking then if it is offside?
By the way, the
bad
times
is
he's
that?
run from behind, you see Tavernier telling his back four, keep stepping up to try and catch O offside. But Turnbull timed his run for late. I
thought
wonder if
Celtic
that was
didn't time
close.
his run.
I thought Celtic had gone the old double bluff there and were actually going to try and attack. But anyway,
Problems here.
Here they come again. And it's David Turnbull down the corner of the box. He's going to square it across. Lundstrom away, corner, Celtic. 1.5 minutes to go.
It's been a remarkable second half. I mean, the first half ended in a bang with Tavernier's goal, but the second half has been end to end, stretch, chances, goals. Quite incredible.
Yeah, I did enjoy the first 15-20 minutes. I thought it was poor. I've really 5 goals, big excitement. It's been good. It's been just what we're expecting. This is what people watch it for, excitement. Again, try to just keep that ball in the corner.
Scott Wright comes and wrestles him. Does well.
I think they're just running out of time. 1
Assistant
minute.
linesman's just, the assistant ref's just guessed there, and it's hard to see.
Last
He's
chance
just guessed.
saloon for Rangers. We're into the last of the additional minutes. Remember, it is
That's poor.
a minimum of 5. I always say that. It's an important thing to remember. And Rangers have a free kick. Iwata penalised. It's deep, so it's going to get lumped into the box. And this should be one of the last
chance,
pieces
Saloon.
of action for Nicholas Raskin.
Just no need for Carter Vickers there
Yeah,
to
he's
take that
plenty of
first
time, isn't
time. Yeah, and he's given away possession. Last opportunity for Rangers to put it in, right on top of the Celtic backline.
It's a good ball from Borna Barisic, and Celtic can't clear it.
He's offside,
Someone
so-
might be
No,
offside,
looked
but
offside,
it comes back out the way.
Oh,
Ryan
here
Kent
he is.
dancing feet. Good tackle, I think, from free kick.
That's a good tackle,
Edge
surely.
of the box, and this
Barisic's
could be
territory.
it. This is left footer suited, so Barisic territory. No, I don't think.
I'll take it back.
Yeah,
That's a free
I'll
kick.
take it back.
Don't
It's a
think he
free
wins the
kick.
ball.
That's
Fair
a free
play,
kick.
Fair play to Kevin Clancy. It looked like O had nicked it in that direction.
It did,
on
it
first
did, but
view.
he's got that one right.
Well,
Right
this
in the
is-
edge of the ball. Tavernier's hitting us.
One kick of the ball that decides this
Brilliant.
game. It's
What a finish.
either 3-3 or 3-2 Celtic.
Correct.
One kick of the ball.
I think Barisic has got to be responsible here.
In the last moments,
Aye.
you would
So
trust
wide, though.
Barisic.
So wide, isn't it, for a-
Barisic,
for a right footer?
Barisic has
Tavernier
got this in
reverse.
his locker.
Tavernier will reverse us.
He
Here we
showed it
go.
before.
There's 95 and a half gone. It is a minimum, so this is going to be it, really. If Rangers score from this, we share the spoils, and if not, Celtic go 12 points clear. What an end to an unbelievably entertaining football match. This is going to be it. Up steps Borna Barisic.
Over the bar.
Over the bar, and that will be that a tame effort in the end from Barisic.
No
Mark.
belief
Of
in that.
course. Why?
Why's
Tavernier's
Tavernier
on a
not having
hat
that?
trick. Why would he not take responsibility and say, no, I get it.
Full
done."
time, Celtic Park. Here's Fraser Wishart and Andrew McLean.
Celtic 3, Rangers 2, the full-time score, and it has the feelings of a title party inside Celtic Park as Ange Postecoglou's side moved 12 points clear after an entertaining 90 minutes here. A couple of disallowed goals to kick things off. The first for Celtic 5 minutes in, Kyogo found the back of the net. That one was ruled offside. Then at the other end, Morelos turning the ball in from a corner, but Kevin Clancy said that, well, he thought the Morelos had fouled Arthur Johnston as the pair jostled for position. This one though, after that, counted 26 minutes in. A good move down the left from Celtic. Matt O'Reilly doing really well, cutting it back into the box, and there was Kyogo in the centre of the box on the turn, and he scored for 1-0. Right before the break though, Rangers got a free kick in a central area. James Tavernier steps up and he could not have hit it any better. Curled it off the underside of the bar and in a brilliant strike for the equaliser into the second half. And Rangers didn't help themselves twice in quick succession. First of all, Ben Davies, an attempted clearance, ball spun up into the air. He failed to head it away after that. It dropped to Kyogo, and once again another tidy finish on the turn for 2-1. Then a few minutes later, Jota ran on to a wayward back pass from John Souttar, getting there before Alan McGregor. He rounded the goalkeeper and finished calmly for 3-1. The party atmosphere really kicked in at that point, but Rangers managed to hit back on a Barisic with a deep cross. It found James Tavernier arriving at the back post. He headed past Joe Hart to cut the deficit, but the visitors couldn't do enough. And Postecoglou's side see the game out, and what a significant victory this is. The full-time score, Celtic 3, Rangers 2. Fraser Wishart will get onto what this victory means, but first of all, it was just an entertaining game of football, a fantastic watch.
Oh, a terrific 90 minutes. You know, we always talk about this. It's a Scottish football showcase game, and sometimes it lets us down. There's a wee edge to it without going over the top. There was some terrific football as well, and Rangers were punished in the end. A couple of mistakes by their central defenders who were terrific throughout. John Suter didn't look out of place at all, but made one mistake. Davis made the other, and it's the clinical finishing of the Celtic front line that made the absolute difference. But as a game to watch, I thoroughly enjoyed it from start to finish. A great 90 minutes.
Yeah, and you just look at the scenes at the moment. There is not a single Celtic fan that has left Celtic Park. The players are doing a lap of honour, and we talk about the significance of this match. Fraser, these fans know that the title is in the bag.
Yeah, they're the people that matter. You know, we can debate all day, and I think we all know it's all over, but 60,000 Celtic fans in here, they are partying now. They think the league is over. They know the league is over, and I know the Celtic players do celebrate with the supporters after every single game. There's an extra edge to the celebrations, you can see it. And in fact, the calmest man in the whole stadium is Ange Postecoglou as he walks across the pitch, applauding the supporters. But there's no celebrations in his mind. It'll be interesting to see how he views the game and how he views the league race. But it's all over. Celtic have dropped 5 points all season. They're 12 points ahead. Everybody in this stadium, everybody in Scotland knows that they have won the title. And congratulations to them.
Yeah, and you wonder what this victory could do going forward as well, because Celtic will be looking to see if they can keep an 100% record from now until the end of the season, but also a huge cup semi-final coming up as well, and they'll feel that they'll have got a huge advantage because of this victory. You see the feeling around the stadium. You know, Kyogo is over there in the corner celebrating with the supporters. They're all jumping down, up and down on their feet. This is a moment that they will carry with them until the summer.
Absolutely, and they'll have enjoyed the 90 minutes as well. The Celtic supporters were getting frustrated at the beginning of the second half, and then towards the end a wee bit edgy as Celtic began to sort of waste time as well, and Rangers were pushing for the equaliser. But yeah, the semi-final at the end of this one is huge significance. We know the significance of a treble in this country, and the Celtic have already got the League Cup. They've got the league wrapped up as well. Rangers will take a bit out of this as well, because their performance was far better than it has been in recent Old Firm games, and there were times when you thought they were going to get ahead, especially at the start of the second half. But in the end, that just annoyed Celtic, and they upped their game, and they were clinical when the chances fell to them. Rangers perhaps not so. They had a few chances at the beginning of that second half. Morelos with a couple of real efforts as well. Cantwell into the side net as well. That's the difference. When you make a mistake, Celtic punish you.
Yeah, well, every single Celtic player, including the substitutes, they're walking round, they're applauding the Celtic fans who are still in this stadium quite a few minutes after kick-off, and they're being trailed by Ange Postecoglou, who's taking in the applause. He's applauding the Celtic fans himself. As Fraser said, it'll be interesting to see what he makes of the game, what he makes of the landscape of the league after this, but there is no doubt that this is a significant afternoon for Celtic, a huge victory for them, a fantastic game of football as well. The full-time score at Celtic Park is Celtic 3, Rangers 2.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast with Lookers Volvo. Here, wherever and whenever you need them. Visit them in store or online.